hello, 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 hello.
Oh, it is.
Can you hear me though? That's what matters. Well, oh, yep, okay. All right, let's roll. Okay, thank you.
We don't have anybody in yet. Oh, you gotta set up TikTok.
Yeah, that takes like 2 seconds. Huh? Yeah. Tick, tack. And you don't stop.
That diesel piece is already on. Is he on?
No. I guess we're going to get an early start. That'd be new, wouldn't it? So, how we doing, guys? This is Aaron Bennett. This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. Ash, you want to turn, maybe switch the two lights over there? Or no, actually, just turn that one on there. That would probably work.
Hey, diesel.
Anyway, hang on. We're still trying. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, maybe that. Let's see how that works out. Maybe we're trying a little bit of lighting thing. How we doing, guys? How we doing? Yeah, I like that. I like that. Thank you, Ash. So anyway, let's get her started. This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. We do this every Wednesday from 7 to 9 Central Time. If it's your first time here, we try and keep this show centric on the heavy diesel industry and on-highway trucking and, industrial engines, all that kind of stuff, but mainly centered on the trucking industry. Last week we were on here, I was given a lot of warnings about if you're in the oil field industry to keep your eyes peeled about the developments going on. Pretty interesting what's going on there. It's hard to read what OPEC's going to do exactly, but man, they're sending a lot of mixed signals. They're saying they're going to up their production by quite a bit. They claim they already have. But tensions in Iran and all that are keeping oil prices artificially up. So we'll see how it plays out. Again, if you're in the oil field, keep a close eye on the developments going on there. I mean, if things develop the way that they're saying, if Saudi Arabia and OPEC Plus does the things that they claim they're going to do, you probably won't have much work if you're in the oil field. So, but you never know what they're going to do. So they do what they want. Anyway, if you're watching on TikTok or YouTube, so we encourage you to go over there to watch this. Not that we don't appreciate the views on TikTok. It's just a much more interactive experience on Facebook. We're glad to see all you guys. Appreciate you coming, joining us here. But let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to start out with a couple comments. We do have some callers already. The number, guys, to call in is 573-422-4225. We encourage the commenters to help us solve problems for people. If you have an issue or something you're trying to figure out or just want to talk in general, that's the number to call. Again, it's 573-422-4225. That gets you on the show here. And remember, everyone can hear you when you call in because it is streaming live. One guy, Troy Wagatha, says, can we discuss injector trim codes and why are they important? I was told to set them at 1200 if no numbers are visible. Thank you. Injector trim codes are there's a lot of misconception about injector trim codes. Injector trim codes are more of an optimization than anything else, as far as like you get a CD from Cat with a Cat injector for something, for example. What you're doing is you're giving the optimal trim code for the best economy and performance of that injector. If you were to put a set of injectors in and not put the trim codes in, you're not going to most likely see any kind of performance issue, none that you're going to notice sitting behind the steering wheel. So again, they're more of an optimization thing. It's pretty common practice to just on Cat injectors to just put 1100 all the way across the board. You get pretty good performance doing that. If you have flow matched injectors, that's kind of the go-to on flow matched injectors. I just put them 1100 all the way across the board. That's pretty much all we use here is flow matched injectors. So for me, it's not really rocket science, but optimization is what you're really after with putting in injector trim codes. Anyway, guys, we'll take a call and then we'll go back over the comments, kind of go back and forth unless we get inundated with callers. So where is your address? On Google. Anyway, let's see if the call's even working here. Hello, can you hear me? Hang on. I may not have the right one up here. Yeah, I do have the right one up. Oh, I see. Hang on one sec. I forgot to do one thing here, which was I always forget something. I got to Bluetooth this into the Roadcaster. Here we go. Should be good now. Can you hear me? Where's the Bluetooth? Oh, yeah. Can you hear me?
I can.
There we go. Now I got you. What can I do for you?
By the way, what is your address?
Are
you allowed to say that online or no?
Yeah,
Because I was trying to find you the other day through Google, but it was a little.
I don't have a problem getting out our address, but
you don't have to say it. I was just trying to look at it the other day, and it came up, and I ended up in some trailer park, and I'm like, oh, where is this place?
No, I don't mind giving it out, but I always just use my so for stuff like that, for the shop number and like the shop address, I have settings in my phone where I just hit that setting and press send. So, I never memorize them. It's not, it's kind of like everybody else. If you ask for what somebody's number is, almost nobody ever knows anymore. It's all in their phone, right? So same with our address and our shop number. I never memorized them. I think it's like 3219 Gus McCrae Lane or something like that. And I just gave it to a delivery driver, not even 40 minutes ago, but I didn't
know. What city is it in? Are you near San Antonio?
Yeah, we're in San Antonio.
Ah, okay. All right. All right. So, because like a couple of weeks ago, I called you in, and I was having this misfiring on my truck, and you said, you could either put on the cruise control to see if it's the sensor, throttle sensor. Changed it. Yeah, that's not the issue. So it's still spinning. But beyond that, my question is that my ASB light is on. I got a Fairlander Classic 05, and the ASB light's staying on. I changed all 4 sensors, and it's still it's just staying on. So I'm wondering, does this feed into like the main unit? Is there anything else I should be looking for? The sensors. This light's just pissing me off.
Yeah, you gotta have the right software for that. I do have the program here for that. Man, I haven't used it in years. I used to use it on my own rigs, and I do have that software. I can't remember what it's called. I don't even remember what the software is called, but all your major shops have it, and that's how you really.
So you're saying that you have to turn, because when I go on the road, sometimes it'll turn off. I hit a bump or something. It'll like turn off for a couple seconds, and then it'll pop back on. Are you saying I need to bring it into a shop to have them shut it off?
No, what they can do is isolate where the problem's coming from. Like I have a program that will tell me exactly what wheel's causing you the problem, and it can even tell me what the problem is. If it's the sensor or you have a you have a ohm problem. In other words, you have a broken wire or something like that. If you can't find it, that's really the only way to do it. But I have.
Yeah, because I had my all my drums pulled off, and then they did a scotch right on. He took the thing and he just cleaned it all up. And then last week I changed out all the sensors, and then I was like, what the heck? So yeah, you know how that is. You go into a shop and they look at you and you're like, home problem, ASB, come on, come back next week. It's like,
Yeah, sure.
so.
Yeah, and the only reason I have that software is because years ago I got leased on to a company with all my trucks, and one of their requirements was you couldn't have any ABS lights, and I don't think I owned a truck that didn't have an ABS light on. So I took one into the shop, and by the time they got done sticking it in my ass for the bill, I went out immediately and bought and acquired the software to diagnose it and do it myself. So I get where you're coming from, but I don't know how you track it down without that software. So anyway, brother.
All right. Okay. So any back on that misfiring, the change that throttle sensor, and I get it up to good speeds. I hammer down, and she seems to blow through it. But then if I'm in the wrong low idle, even just low, like maybe 1250 on the RPMs, and then I shift into a gear, it just misfires. You thinking going down the road of fuel injectors?
Yeah, I mean, you haven't done an injector cutout test yet. I mean, all I was suggesting.
You told me that. You told me that a couple weeks ago. I haven't done that one. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, before you speculate anything else, you have to. So.
Yeah. What's the last question? What does that cost for you if I came into your shop? How much would that be?
An injector cutout test to figure it out?
Yeah. I mean, is it thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars?
Half the time we don't even charge anybody for that, but at the worst case scenario, we're 1 hour, so $150, $170, whatever it is.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's going to be my next thing then. All right, buddy.
All right,
well,
brother.
I appreciate you taking my call. You have a good one. All right.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
We don't charge anything to diagnose trucks. Occasionally, if we have to hook up the computer and be stuck there for an hour fucking around, we'll charge for that. But a lot of people come to us and we'll give them an analysis and all. There's no obligation to do any work with us, but we don't have a problem taking 10, 20, 30 minutes, look over your truck and figure out what's going on with it. I mean, who cares? It's not the end of the world, right? Again, guys, this is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. If you're watching on TikTok, we encourage you to go to Facebook and YouTube. You can actually hear the caller. Can't hear the caller if you're watching from TikTok. ByteDance doesn't allow that integration. The call-in number one to be part of the show is 573-422-4225. We have a couple callers on hold here. We will get to you guys. I have a few comments I wanted to look at here. One guy asked, looking for a 3406B rebuild kit. Do you all have them in stock? I wanted to take advantage of that question to tell you guys some exciting news. Our product line that we've been working on for all this time is finally almost here. We had a big meeting about it yesterday. I have to fly out to Atlanta and do the last. I got to do the last. Basically thumbs up on the piston crowns. That was the last thing we're waiting on. They're finished. I got to go look at them. If it's all thumbs up all the way around, I'm going to be meeting the owner of HHP there. We're going to do our final look over of everything. I've got to test them and check them out and be a part of all that. But it's finally time. We're thinking about 10 days. Our products will actually be out on the market. We're doing a lot of cutting edge, innovative things that nobody's ever done before. And I'm really excited about it. Also, some other exciting things that we have going on is starting this next week. We converted 2,000 square feet of our shop here to doing coatings. We got an industrial oven, an industrial negative zone where you can have a dust-free zone, a clean room, so to speak, that has forced air fans, and we're going to start coating stuff here. We're going to be doing Teflon coatings. We're going to be doing ceramic coatings, and we're going to be doing ceramic polymer coatings, and we're going to be doing ceramic titanium coatings. So our first test guinea pig is some of the engines I'm building for sale. We're going to take a 6TS that is all stock parts, and we're going to coat everything on it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're really excited about that. We're going to be having some promos coming up. Pretty much our whole product line that we have coming out is all centered around doing performance coatings on everything. We have a turbo coming out that's coated inside and out. Not really anybody doing that. We're going to coat the inside of the turbo. We have our own manifold coming out where you don't have to use our turbo to make the manifold work. Some of these guys out here, it's really annoying, but we got some exciting stuff coming. We have cylinder heads coming out that are going to be Teflon coated on the valve guides, the valve stems, and the valves themselves are going to be Teflon coated. Couple that with your ceramic coating on your pistons. And we're even looking at and going to probably prototype ceramic coating the exhaust ports on the cylinder heads themselves. So pretty excited. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to catch you guys up on that, up on all of that. So next week, sometime we should start having our parts lines coming out. We should be open for business for doing customized coatings. And then the third thing is I also got a call back today. Just kind of everything hit me all at once. Our gapless rings, are 3.5 weeks. They gave me an update today. 3.5 weeks, maybe 4, to having them in our hands. So we're really close. I wish I already had them. I'm really excited about them. I have prototypes. Coonley Brothers has a set. They're putting them in an engine right now. Ohio Truckworks has a set. They're putting them in a 6NZ right now. And they also built a side-by-side 6NZ that doesn't have them. They're going to dyno test them side by side and see the results. And Coonley Brothers is supposed to do some dyno testing on them as well and help share those results. So it's going to be pretty cool. So I have sets of rings out there in more than one place being tested right now before they actually hit our hands and we can get them to all you guys. So pretty excited about that. We have some other real cool things coming out. We have I just made a deal with a company today to partner with them on basically a thermostat for ISXs that cool that oil temp that we all fight so hard. And when you go out and buy like a $4,000 PDI double oil cooler, well, this is a $300 item that you install, and it drops your oil temperatures by about 20 to 30 degrees. It's pretty cool. So the guy patented it, invented it, and brought it to us, showed me it, and he just has no outlet for it. And I gave him a bunch of ideas for improvements on it, and we're going to take it and Teflon coat it, upgrade it that way. And so we got some cool shit going on. I'm pretty excited about it. Anyway, we'll get back to the calls here. Hey, Andy, how you doing, buddy? See him in the chat there. Diesel Beast, love you long time. We'll get back over to the callers here. Longest caller's only been on hold for 7 minutes, so I'll take a couple callers here, and then we'll jump over and check out some comments. I don't want to leave the commenters behind all the time. So, do we do dyno testing? We don't have a dyno, but the owner of Highway and Heavy Parts, Andy, he is basically he has a dyno that he wants to purchase, and he is pushing me to put it in his shop. Him and I have had 2 or 3 meetings on it. We keep talking about this dyno he wants to put in here, and I'm really excited about doing it. But on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm trying to see the practical applications for it. Obviously, there's a lot of practical applications for it, but if you're not building complete engines, because it's an engine dyno, so anyway, we'll see what happens. Hi, you're on the air, man.
Hey, what's going on, man? My name's Owen. I had a question for you. Are you answering truck issues or just motor issues?
It don't matter. Come on with it. If I don't know the answer, man, I don't bullshit you. I can't help you. It is what it is.
Okay.
What do you got?
Well, I've been through about 4 or 5 mechanics and myself, and I have a vibration in my truck between the speeds of about 45 and 60 miles an hour. Now, I have replaced, I just put a new clutch in. I had 2 broke springs in the clutch. Didn't fix it. I've replaced the entire driveline, shafts, yokes, U-joints, carrier bearing. I've done both the rear ends. I've done the spring bushings, front and rear, along with the kingpins and bushings. New steer tires, balanced. I've had them balanced twice, actually. All new drive tires, all new brake drums, all new shocks, and I redid the ride height. And I still have a vibration, and I can't figure it out.
So you didn't do all these things to figure out the vibration, right?
I sort of did them over time. I've been dealing with the vibration for about a year now, so I've had a year to kind of pick at it. But all these things have been done within a year.
When you did any of that work,
The one thing I haven't really replaced is the transmission.
Right. And it happens at what speed?
Between about 47 and 60 miles an hour. It don't matter if I'm, on or off the gas, clutch in or out, neutral. It's just right around that speed. And I don't have any weird wear in any of the tires. I couldn't find any out around wheels, which was what I would think it would be. But it's definitely speed related. I was thinking motor mount, but I mean,
no.
If it's speed related, that would kind of throw that out of the question. So I'm really just stumped. I'm kind of, trying to figure this out.
Yeah, it's probably not the transmission. The range there is pretty long. So it happens in what all gears does it happen in?
So I have a 13 speed, so it's kind of like that. What would that be? 10, 11, 12 kind of range. Yeah, that like 10 to 12 gear is where it's really, really bad. It don't fall out of gear or anything. Transmission's real tight. It's just right around that speed.
So it's in 7th and 8th. Right? You have 7th over 7th direct, 7th over 8th direct, 8th over, right? That's your last 2 gears. That's where it's happening?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, yep.
Okay. So, and just to address some of these comments real quick, I'm going to come right back to talking to you, okay? If you guys are listening to what he's saying, if you guys are listening to what he's saying, I've seen all these comments, and I do appreciate all the help in the comments. That's part of the thing here is we want everybody to help out, right? But everybody's talking about your rear end plane is off, your ride height's not right. You got a bent rim.
No, the ride height.
Hang on. I'm talking to these guys. Just give me a second. Flywheel out of balance. Yokes are faced correctly. In other words, they're clocked. I'm assuming that's what he means, which that can cause a vibration. The problem is with all these comments. Not that there's problems with any of them, but you already answered all of those comments when you were giving the details of what you've already been through. You already went through all that, right? And
yeah.
If you were clocked incorrectly or your ride height was off, we probably wouldn't be isolated exactly to 7th over eighth direct and eighth over, which is what you've described. So the correlation I see here is you have that it's not necessarily speed related, it's more gear related. And you have to remember that your 7th and 8th gears ride on the same shaft. Okay. So it would be my guess, because you've already went through all those other things, that you have bearings bad in that transmission, and the shaft is dropping into the gears below it.
What if I told you it did it in neutral too when I was coasting? Would that change your mind on that?
Yes, that would change my mind on that.
Because it still does it when I push the clutch, and I know that doesn't take it out of gear, but it will do it in neutral as well. So if I'm going like 75 miles an hour and I just throw it in neutral and just coast, right when I hit that 60 to 45 range, it starts, vibrating like hell.
Then I'm going to go back I'm going to go and start agreeing with the comment section. You have something out of balance. Something's out of round. Something's not right. Hey, I mean, like there's so many suggestions here. You could have a bent rim. That one seems pretty unlikely to me, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possible. Flywheel out of balance. I mean, there's 100 comments here, right? And all of them are very legitimate comments, right? It could be all these. It sounds like if you hadn't done all this work already, what it sounds like is a carrier bearing. Carrier bearings are the most likely to give you a vibration at a specific speed. That's what it sounds like to me. When is the last time you rolled underneath your truck and lifted up on every U joint and lifted up on every carrier bearing? You could have
2 days ago.
Okay. And you don't have any U joints going out.
I don't have any movement anywhere.
No movement anywhere.
No, everything's clocked right. And I mean, I can push as hard as I can anywhere on the drive shaft. I won't get any movement anywhere. I had a little bit in the slip yoke, and I replaced it right away. Same with the that yoke right there in front of the carrier bearing. I had some movement there, and I, swapped both of them out, and still vibrating.
Yeah, I had a Peterbilt.
I did the carrier bearing about 6 months ago.
I had a Peterbilt that had a problem like this. And I just I remembered because a guy just commented that the drive shaft's not true, needs to be balanced. And I had a Peterbilt that was doing something similar like this, and it would take out carrier bearings, and we'd get like 10, 12,000 miles out of each carrier bearing, and we'd have to change it. And I dealt with that for like a year and a half, just kept changing carrier bearings on it.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the driveline wasn't true, and we took it in and had it straightened, and that cured it. But one of the ways that you can test that theory and figure it out, and then it's about the best I can give you here, is you can take like 2 or 3 hose clamps and put them on your drive line and line them all up with each other so you have weight in a certain spot, right? And drive it around. See if your problem gets worse or better. Move them a couple inches, drive it around, see if the problem gets worse or better, and keep rotating those around and see if you can get the problem to become worse or go away. If either of those things happen,
where
go ahead.
I was going to say, where on the drive shaft do I put the
from the
hose clamp?
transmission back to the carrier bearings, where I would start.
Okay.
Could be anywhere. You're right in the middle.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I know it's been through 2 drive shafts and it's still vibrating. But I mean, it could always be that.
You lost a drive shaft, or you changed them?
No, I didn't. I changed it. When I had the rear ends, I just put a whole new drive line in.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Go check out the comment section on Facebook there when you get off here, and there's a lot of suggestions on there. All right, brother?
Okay.
All right, man.
I appreciate your help.
Yep, good luck. I don't know that I help, but good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, like it. fucking trucks, man. I have fought. There's probably not anybody going to call with a problem that I haven't had myself. And I mean, that's one thing that would basically qualify me for doing this. But, you know, not all problems, they can sound the same and feel the same, but they're not always from the same thing. Okay. What's your thoughts on rolling bearings at 400,000 on IS615? Man, a lot of people ask me that, whether you should roll rods and mains, you know, at a certain time for 400,000, 500,000. I don't really know. I don't really know what I think about that. Not really. You know, I think that a guy's probably better off, money better spent, just doing oil samples, be honest with you, than like trying to guess some random time to roll some rods and mains. That question was from TikTok, by the way. That's just my opinion. My opinion is that you're going to get a better feel for what's going on with your truck than having somebody just drop a couple rods and mains and replace them for you. You know, we see a lot of damage that happens from shops not doing a clean job and stuff like that. I mean, if it was me, I'd rather keep her closed up and send off some oil samples and monitor that kind of stuff that way, rather than just trying to, you know, pick a card, any card. What time do I change my rods and mains? Somebody said it's a Cummins at 500. You're going to have to rebuild it anyway. I mean, he's got a point. So, but no, in all seriousness though, your oil samples are going to tell you more than some jackhole dropping your rods and mains and telling you, well, good thing you did that, you know. And yeah, I mean, it's just my opinion. It's a lot cheaper, and you're going to find out more stuff. You're going to find out if, you know, you're going to be able to figure out if you have moisture getting in and fuel getting in and all these other things that you're not going to find out from somebody just randomly changing your rods and mains. And we do it here. Guys will bring us trucks and ask us to do the bottom job on them, and we do them. But it's not something I try to talk guys into doing ever. Okay, I'm going to take another caller, then I'll come back over here to the questions. I see there's quite a few questions, actually quite a few callers now, so I ain't going to have to pick. But anyway, Scott Connor. Scott, how's it going? Good, man. What can I do for you?
Good, you? So I'm rebuilding the 12.7 Detroit, and it has 300,000 on a long block. Long story short, there was coolant coming out of the weep holes, so they got liner rings. Pulling it apart, and the crank is scored on, I believe it's Cat 6 with the thrust bearings in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only main journal that is scored. I mean, the oil almost feels gritty, so I'm thinking he busted this engine, but have you seen just one main bearing take that much damage? I mean, it's down to copper. I can catch my fingernail on the main journal.
I can't remember how the oil rifle runs on the Detroit because my brother-in-law builds them all here. But I mean, we have an ISX here right now that we rebuilt about a year ago, and it has a piston sideways in it right now. I haven't made a video about this one yet. From a good customer of ours, it's a gal that owns several trucks. She brings them all to us. We've done a lot of work for her. But she brought us this truck. It's completely locked up, and this does correlate to what you're asking about. And we opened up the bottom and saw that it had a piston sideways in it, and we're trying to figure out what happened. When we opened up the top, all of the valve train is completely rusted out, and it's sludge everywhere. So this thing has been dumping coolant into the oil really, really bad. And all of the bearings on this thing, you can see all the copper, but only one bearing got its ass kicked so bad that it spun it. Right. So it really matters, you know, can you just have one bearing get ate up? Yeah, we got another Cummins in here that has water damage that's delaminating on number 7, and all the rest of them look brand new. Why is it doing that? I couldn't tell you. but we've certainly seen many times where it's just one bearing going out. Usually on the ISXs, it's number one, and that's because shit gets dumped down into the front structure oil ports and goes to number one first and takes that one out. On your,
Okay.
that's why I'm saying I can't remember how the oil rifle goes on the 12.7s. If there's a reason that that your thrust, number 6 would be the one that got its ass kicked and the rest of them didn't. But I'm guessing the answer is probably yes, right? It's probably because it feeds there first.
Yep. Another note, are you missing a 1/4 inch 10 millimeter? Because I found it in the oil pan. Damn 10 millimeters.
Well, again, I don't do any of the Detroits here, so I think I've only ever done one in my life, to be honest with you. So,
Okay.
But how bad is?
I mean, the other question is, what's your stipulation? I mean, you can feel a high spot on the crank. I mean, what's your stipulation of getting some polish rope or whatever and just do it in chassis, or should I just pull this and
it didn't
get it done? Because it already has 10. It already has 10 overs in it. So I don't know if at Detroit at the factory, if there wasn't metal filling some oil galleys, and
yeah, if you're already dealing with 10 overs, that'd be a little sketch. But I mean, kind of your litmus is twofold. Yeah, my coworker's saying that 12.7, you need to take a good look at your rod journals, either side of that as well. He's kind of got a good point there. But two things.
Would that affect main?
Well, yeah, they all feed from the same rifle.
It's just on the main.
Right.
On the main bearing that has wear. All the other ones, the polish is still on them, or the coating is still on them.
Okay, and this one's all the way down to the copper.
Mm-hmm. I can reach out to you guys tomorrow. I've called you guys before. I can send you guys pictures and stuff.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Because I don't want to give you any advice that somebody else might take on here. Let me take.
That's fine.
No, let me take an actual look at it, and can you catch your fingernail on anything? There's one of your litmus tests. You need to plastic gauge it for sure. I wouldn't do nothing without plastic gauging it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And that, between those two things, that's going to kind of help you decide. But yeah, go ahead and send it to me tomorrow, brother. All right.
All right, big man.
Yeah. Have a good night.
You too, bye.
One guy said, can I use a crank from one block to another? Yes, you can. That's pretty much not a problem. Plastic gauges are caveman stuff. I suppose we use them all the time. They're really accurate. And the nice thing about a plastic gauge, if you're a shop owner, here's the big benefit to a plastic gauge is you can plastic gauge something. You can put your gauge beside it. You snap a picture and you send it to the owner of the truck. Now, between the two of you, you have a correspondence that shows, this thing was in spec or this thing was out of spec, and it's visible for both of you to see. We can always go back later and reference that. And it just gives us this a little bit more security. So that's kind of where plastic gauges come into their own. It works a lot better than, trying to prove it was mic'd out or whatever. So why don't we work on Mack motors? Well, every engine takes quite a bit of money to get tooled up to work on. And we're all snowed in with other engines all the time. It just doesn't make sense to add another one to our portfolio. We did add Packers to our portfolio, and it was very expensive to get into doing that engine. Anyway, we'll go ahead and take another caller. John, you're on the air, brother.
Hey, brother. Hey, I got an old B model to 91 and a old steel body Kenworth tracks, a dump truck I run, and I don't know how many miles on the old girl. I think somewhere handy 700,000. It breathes a little heavy, and but it runs good and it gets the job done. But I've been beating it up and down the Allegheny Mountains like a whore lately, and it's got me wanting to get another motor and get one ready in case this one goes. I'm not sitting in a shop up here for 3 months waiting to get a rebuild. I can just flip them in a couple days. I found a 94 C model motor, 4.25. It's leaking antifreeze around the liners, and I don't think the guy's going to fix the truck. If I send you that C model motor down, just build it the way you build it for yourself, something reliable. I don't want a bunch of horsepower. 4.25 is plenty for me. My old B model's only $350 now. What kind of money would I have in that? And I'm a big fan of them Tidal seal rings. We used to run them in dirt track cars 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, I try not to let the show become a sales pitch. You know what I mean? We prefer if you'd give us a call on something like that. And we don't do any business with anybody without giving them a quote up front. We're just part of our claim to fame is we're not that shop where we do the job and then it's 20 grand more than you were expecting and go fuck yourself if you want your shit back, right? So we're that shop we're that shop where before you even get here 95% of what you're looking at when you leave, and a lot of times we're 100%. You leave for the same thing we quoted you, and that's just kind of the way we like to do it. But it really comes down to how far you want to go with it. And this is, so I'll generalize it a little more so it's not a sales pitch. It really comes down to what you want to do with it. If you're just trying to overhaul it and put it back together, pretty much any shop you're going to be 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there. And then the labor's already all in at that point. So then it really just comes down to how far you're going to go with it, right? You're going to do oil cooler, oil pump, water pump, dampener, new cylinder head. Are we doing manifold? Are we doing a new turbo? Are you going to, since it's a B model, you're going to do new fuel lines, internal fuel lines? You doing new pass-throughs on the head? Are you doing new nozzles? And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Are you going to do new lifters? Are we doing a camshaft while we're in there? And like the last couple custom B models I did, and those were more horsepower B models, but still, they're comparable. Those guys got up into the high 30s on those. And a couple of those guys got into the low 40s, where we sent pumps out and we really put them up 600 horsepower. And, we got steel crowns and we coated the steel crowns and on and on and on. We got round port heads so we can use modern day manifolds on them and just so on and so forth. So it's kind of the sky's the limit, really. So the thing to do is give us a call and then we just give you a little consultation on what you're looking for exactly so we can give you an accurate quote. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'll just have to dig up your phone number at the shop. Is it on a web page or something I can look up?
God. I told myself, my somebody's got to know it. My lady's always on here. Maybe she can tell me the shop number. I'll keep watching TikTok here, and this time I'm going to write it down. So the next time somebody asks me, I can. Okay, it's 737 204 9316.
9316. Hacknation. All right. Okay. Well, that's actually that was a help anyway. So it was. I wish somebody up here had one of them blow by tubes gauges to measure the blow by. If you're sitting in a red light, you can see it coming out from underneath the hood. I've had them a lot worse, but
Usually,
Um,
just a couple things here. Usually, if you have blow by that's like a fog machine, when you're just sitting there at an idle, the engine's hot, like you were running it and you came to a stoplight and you're sitting there and she's really putting it out. That usually means you can almost guarantee you have broken rings, at least one.
wow. It when you crawl underneath the truck and look at the tube, it doesn't look as bad when you're underneath it. It's when you're a certain way the sun hits it when you're sitting at a red light, you'll see it trickling underneath the hood. That's when it bothers you. But it's nice. It's smooth. It's not like one cylinder hitting harder than the other. Kind of like somebody's puffing on a cigarette and making smoke rings. It changes. It's just it's real steady and it's smooth. So I don't really think it's just one cylinder. I think it's all of them doing the same bloody thing. And I'm about 2,500 miles a gallon of oil now, pulling the mountains. This mountain's hard on the old girl.
Yeah,
But
both of those things that you've said indicate broken rings. You gallon oil and 20
broken rings.
Gallon of oil and 2,500 miles because you're under boost. I almost bet you money if you opened it up, there's broken rings in it.
Alrighty. Okay, well, I don't get this old C model off the guy. I don't think he's going to fix the truck. It was his spare, and his N14 blew up, and he dumped all his money into that N14 to get it fixed. And this C model he has started leaking antifreeze around the liner. And I don't think he's going to fix the truck. So I think I can get the engine off of him, and I just get it rebuilt and get it ready to go.
Yeah.
But if I did send it down, what worries me, what if there is an issue and it has to get warranty work? You're in Texas and I'm in Pennsylvania.
So
that's the other thing that worries me.
So the way our warranty works, if you were to read our warranty wording doesn't guard us from honoring our warranty. Our warranty wording exclusively protects us from other shops. And the way it works is, let's say we had done a water pump for you. We'll just make it really simple. Okay.
Okay.
And your water pump went out and you were in Pennsylvania and you called me, hey, Aaron, my water pump's out. So the way we resolve that is, well, where are you going to fix it? Are you fixing it yourself? You taking it to a shop? Well, I'm at such and such shop. I would just have you give me the address. I would overnight a water pump there, make sure that you got taken care of and got back on the road. And then you and I would figure out labor, if necessary, on the back end of that.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Yeah, that's way cool.
And so the way our warranty works is we would warranty it on a like-for-like basis. That's how we protect ourselves from other shops. So if I didn't know you from Adam and you brought me a truck and had me do a water pump, obviously I'm going to have precedent for that because we do that kind of stuff. I would compensate you comparable as if you had come back here. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
So in other words,
okay, great.
If we're 4 hours to do a water pump, or 3 hours or whatever it is, and then some other, and it's so $580 or whatever, and some other shop charges you $3,800 to do the same job, we're not paying that. We're not. We're gonna pay.
Right.
We're gonna pay just like if you'd brought it here.
Exactly. Okay. Outstanding. All right.
All right.
No, I appreciate it. I'll be talking to somebody down here later.
All right. Have a good
All right, thanks a lot.
Yep, and good luck with whatever you decide to do there, okay?
All righty, I appreciate it.
Yep, bye. Well, that call was a little too close to being a sales pitch for my liking. Hey, Charlie's in here. How you doing, buddy? How about 1.5 gallons of oil in 8 hours like the warranty one I finished today? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I was following that one with you there, Charlie. I have my own opinions about what was going on there, but anyway, I guess they don't matter. In my experience, the only time you have an engine that goes from being rebuilt to all of a sudden consuming oil, and when you take it apart, it still has all the crosshatch, still has it doesn't have any stacking on the ring. You don't have a broken ring. You don't have a swiped out liner. You can almost always correlate that to a wet stacking event of some kind where they had diesel fuel. They had a really bad wet stack event. And of course, as you would know, oil is a much better solvent, or fuel is a much better solvent than oil is a lubricant. And the fuel just wins the battle. And it seems like an engine that has been broke in, has a couple 100,000 miles on it, can handle a wet stack much more resiliently than an engine that only has 10, 20,000 miles on it that gets wet stacked. They just get eaten alive. And so if I have an engine that's consuming oil like crazy, I'm looking really close at the exhaust system, and there's nothing else wrong with it. Almost always you'll find the exhaust system is completely full of diesel fuel. It just seems to correlate every time. But anyway, let's see here. I might as well take another caller. I don't see any interesting questions. Again, guys, if you're watching on TikTok, we encourage you to go over to Facebook and YouTube. You can hear the caller there. It's much more interactive. We do appreciate you viewing on TikTok, but it's not really where it's happening at. Again, guys, the call-in number is 573-422-4225. This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. We do this every Wednesday from 7 to 9. Try and help out as many people as we can. Josh, N14, what can we do for you, brother? You're on the air.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going, man?
Amazing.
Hey, so I just picked up a. That's great. I just picked up a T600 today. Has an N14 in it. I had a couple questions on it. First, oil pressure wise, so it's been rebuilt. I had paperwork from Cummins, about 100,000. Idle oil pressure stays around 18, and running down the road, it's right at 40. I'm used to cats and the oil pressure on cats, so that's why I was just calling to see if that's normal for these engines, or is that slow. I picked it up off the auction, so I don't know much from the previous owner.
They do run quite a bit lower oil pressure than a cat does. There's no doubt about that. 18 sounds a little low.
Yeah.
I can't remember what your threshold is. I know Charlie's in the comments. He probably knows that one by heart. But I think you said 18, right?
Yeah, 18. Well, that's after I pulled a hill with it and ran it hard, and then I stopped at my yard. It was about 18, 19 in there, right below 20.
Yeah, I can't remember what critical is on that one. I want to say critical is all the way down around 12 or 13 on that engine. Seems a little low, but I mean,
Okay.
that's when it's hot. 40, I think, is acceptable. When you're wound out, I don't think that's something that you need to be. It's an N14, Charlie. Running 18 to 40, 18 in an idle, 40 wound out. No, N14. And that's when it's hot. I think that's acceptable. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
You got your Cummins doesn't run on the same kind of oil system. They're a high flow, low pressure system versus a low flow, high pressure system like a cat is.
Okay. Got it. And then the second part of the question, I think it's a check valve, but I was going to change it out tomorrow. So having a hell of a time starting it up. Takes about 15 seconds or so, but it starts up after about 10 to 15 seconds, just continuous cranking.
Yeah, and if you turn it off and then try to start it right away, will it start right up?
It takes about 5 seconds. It's not like a cat, like right away. It'll crank for about 5 after I turn it off and turn it back on.
Okay. So probably what you have going on there is your check valve is worn out and it's not retaining fuel against the rail. That check.
Got it. Yeah, I was going to change that out tomorrow.
Yeah, the check valve's in the ECM.
So it's in the UTM? Okay.
Yep. One side's
Perfect.
one side's a filter. It's really just a wire strainer basically, and the other side's a check valve.
Got it. Perfect, boss. Thank you so much.
Oh, hang on. Charlie says, and by the way, Charlie works at Rev Diesel down there. He had his own shop for a long time. Pretty renowned mechanic. He said 18 is on the low side, but it's not the minimum spec. Red light comes on at 12 to 14.
Okay.
So it's a little low, but you're probably not damaging anything.
Okay, perfect.
All right, brother. Well, good luck, okay?
All right, thank you.
Yep, bye. All right, we're just going to go right to another one here. Samuel from Alaska, Detroit 60 Series. What's going on, man?
All right, let's go right to another. Hello. So I ended up picking up my truck from the shop. They ended up comping the V-Pod. V-Pod harness, and gave me a truck back. I just drove a bobtail from Anchorage to Wasilla. Truck's still surging. They want like $8,000 more for another turbo. And I talked with one guy that can kind of do the 12.7 configuration fix. And he told me he can do that for $7,000. So pretty crappy scenario I'm in. I'm probably chasing the surging issue. I'm probably $25,000-$30,000 into a $14,000 truck, and I'm never going to get the money back.
I mean, I'm with you and I feel for you, but I don't really, I'm trying to like really see where we're coming from here is, I mean, we're.
Would you place another turbo onto it for $8,000?
That's not how much they cost, so no. I mean, it's not even in the realm of how much they cost for a 14-liter Detroit. I don't know who's giving numbers like that, but that's not realistic at all for just the turbo. I mean, short of more information, I don't even really know how to help you. I mean, there's a calibration process that has to happen there. Has that happened?
According to the paperwork, the receipts I received, everything's there. In the last 20,000 miles, 2 V-Pods, 1 turbo, ECM, all the sensors changed by Trailer Craft Anchorage. And then all the sensors changed by another shop in Anchorage, which I'm not going to throw under blast. Then Trailer Craft Anchorage said my ECM is bad. And I said, like, hey, trucks.
Didn't you call last week?
Trucks, probably 2 or 3 weeks back. So I paid up my bill. I picked up the truck. And before I'm leaving, the lady at the front counter is telling me, like, hey, you need a turbo.
Right. So
I put a brand new turbo in 15,000 miles back.
Hey, last time we went down all this stuff with you last time, and we all agreed.
Yeah.
We all agreed that you needed to do a calibration on it. Did you ever do that?
No, we came came down to the road of a 12.7 setup. But it's neither here nor there. Would you, if it was your own money, would you spend $8,000 on another?
No, what I would.
That's the price they gave me
What I would do after
for a turbo.
What I would do is what we. What I would do is what we told you last time. When I say we, all the people in the comments section, everybody was in agreement, my friend. You have to go get it calibrated.
So correct. They claimed they did that. Personally, myself, I don't have a laptop. I don't have a setup to hook up the truck, but pretty much the Cat C15 I have with 1.4 million miles without being opened up is keeping me alive. I want this truck to be ready to go in case the 1.4 million mile one puts a rod through the block.
Sure,
So
sure,
it's,
but I mean, why don't you go to a dealership or something? Because you're obviously getting.
I went to a dealership, the Freightliner dealership in Anchorage, Alaska.
So yeah, the V pod's still intact, right? They've changed it twice.
Correct. They
Right.
changed it twice. They changed the V pod harness. They changed the EGR. They changed the ECM. They changed all the sensors associated with anything like turbo emissions related. It got changed over at Trailer Craft, and then it got changed at a different shop. No fixes. I just picked up the truck probably about less than 10 hours back. I bobtailed it back to Wasilla. I pick up the truck without a load. I can feel it surging. It's like you're 20 pounds of boost, you're 5 pounds of boost, you're 15 pounds of boost, you're 3 pounds of boost, you're 17 pounds of boost. Essentially, it just keeps going back and forth. It's like the truck doesn't fucking, excuse my language, the truck doesn't know what it's doing.
Right, because it's not calibrated. We already went through this with you last time. You need to take it somewhere and get it calibrated. That's the only way. The only way
you have shop recommendations in Anchorage?
No,
Wasilla, Fairbanks?
I did all my trucking in Fairbanks,
Nothing.
and I knew better than to go into any shop. I mean, the only independent shop you have in Fairbanks is after hours and evenings, right? And goddamn, I don't know anybody who wouldn't go there. I mean, not on purpose. I mean, you know, everybody fixes their own shit.
But I'm telling you, I spent my money with the Freightliner Detroit guys, and they told me my ECM is bad. They couldn't give me a reason why the ECM is bad.
I understand that, but your problem is not calibrated. It's the only way it could be confused like that. It doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what what these shops have done to you. It matters that your shit doesn't work at this point, right? You've already paid them. You're already over the barrel.
Okay. Well, okay. You're in the same position as I am. Do you drive down the truck to like Washington? Because or you have a recommendation in Fairbanks?
No, that's like basically life advice, and that's certainly not something I'm here to do, you know, is give suggestions like that. What I'm saying is you have to get it calibrated. That's the answer to your question, right?
Can somebody do that remotely? That's also a question. Like if I pick up the hardware for me to have access to the Same type of connection like the OBD2? Can somebody remotely calibrate the turbo?
I'm sure someone could, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It doesn't seem to be the right thing to do.
Okay.
It's not. It's not something that I want to do. I know that. You need to take it. You need to take it. Say, I don't know where to tell you to take it. I haven't lived in Fairbanks or Anchorage. You know, I would live there 19 years. I went there when I was 18. I lived there 19 years, but I left in 2016, right after the 2015 oil collapse. And I haven't technically been back. I mean, I went back a couple times just to visit, but I certainly don't know any shops there. I never went to any shops there myself. I knew of after hours and evenings, and I had a friend named Bill. It was Bear Paw mechanic or shop or whatever. That was the two shops I knew of. And I certainly wouldn't go to them. So I don't really know what to tell you. Probably part of the problem you run into is there really isn't any 60 series Detroits in Alaska. You're probably, you know, maybe one of 10 guys that own one.
Yeah. Essentially on the Parks Highway, I probably see like one or two running a Detroit, but essentially I'm trying to figure out this truck at least to have it set up as a backup truck. You know, you take a truck for a test run and it's running like shit after you put $10,000 into it.
Right.
And I'm not talking about a rebuild.
Like Charlie's saying on here, and I agree with this wholeheartedly. Take it back.
I'm not seeing any of the comments or anything.
Right. I'm talking because you're not the only person I'm talking to. I'm talking to anybody viewing, right? Take it back to the motherfuckers that did it and tell them it's not right. I mean, I don't understand why that's not. And then that's not the option. I wouldn't pay him another fucking dime. You know?
Just the last time I picked it up, the shop tells me they comped me for parts, for the V-pod, for the harness. If it's still not running right, it needs another turbo. But I got receipts to back everything up. Like, what do I do? Post a Google review. Hey, by the way, $25,000 is spent at this shop, Trailer Craft Anchorage, chasing a surging issue. V-pod harness, turbo.
I don't know, man.
Like,
but we're 8 minutes into this, and we're
Yep.
We're right.
Okay,
we're right where we were last time.
Yep. Okay.
So
10-4. Yeah, you have yourself a nice night. Later,
too, man.
Bye.
Sorry, guys, I had to breathe. We're gonna take another caller. Shannon Tucker. Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I want to take a 2000.
No, go ahead. Sorry. Hey, yeah, can you
I want to
turn that down in the background there.
Yep, there we go. Okay. I got a buddy that has a 2008 twin turbo Cat. It was built. It's got 10,000 miles on it, and it cracked the crank. Everything on the top of that motor is brand new. I got a 3406 5EK 97. It's got a bad head on it, or a bad liner, but I want to take everything off that twin turbo and put on that 3406. So my question is, what injectors would I use? Would I use the twin turbo injectors and a cam out of it? Or how would I do that?
You could use the cylinder head, but the valve train is not applicable.
Okay, so I need to use everything off the 3406 the valve, I mean, all the bridges and jakes and everything off the 3406 and put them on the head off of the 5EK. I mean, off the twin turbo.
If you're trying to restore the 5EK, pretty much the only thing you can use.
Yes, that's.
You can use the cylinder head. You can use the valve bridges, but your camshaft and injectors are quite a bit different.
Okay, that's my question right there. Now, what do you do with the actuators? Do you just not hook them up, or do you have to take them off and plug them? Or
well, I thought you have the valve train from the 5EK. You wouldn't be using the actuators.
Yeah, right, I do. But there ain't the actuators still in the head? I mean, you take them off, or what do you do?
They're not part of the head. It's like an extra set of Jake brakes, or depending on which one you have, it is part of the Jake housing. You're just not going to use that part. You're going to use your 5EK stuff will all marry up in that head, no problem. You won't even notice the difference because, quite frankly, there isn't any difference.
Yeah, I've heard you say that before. That's what gave me this idea. And like I said, he's not going to do anything with this motor. But I know it's a sales pitch because I'm not going to sales pitch you because I didn't heard you. You don't want to do that. But I'll call you some other time because I'd like to bring you about 3 motors and let you keep a couple of them, and I'll take parts off of one and we'll put one 5EK together.
Sure. I do. Well, I do have long blocks.
That way you could.
I do have long blocks as well, so that's another option.
Okay, yeah, that or take this head and everything and put on a long block.
Well, the long
and
block,
I don't know.
The long block comes with all that. Long block's going to be your block, your rod, new crank, rods, pistons, cylinder head. All you're doing is taking all your external components and your valve train and throwing it on there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was just wanting to make sure because I wasn't sure what cam and everything else to use because, like I said, everything on his motor, the cam, the injectors are all brand new. They ain't got 10,000 miles on them. So I was really wanting to use them, but I can use my 5EK stuff because it's only got about 400,000 on it.
Yeah.
And then, like you said earlier, the blow-by tube, it looks like it got a goddamn fire under it. So it's got a cracked head or maybe number 3 cylinder. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, it's probably not the head causing.
I know it's a number 3 cylinder.
Sure.
You think it might be in the cylinder itself?
Yep.
Because it don't matter. I'm not using that head. I've done this. I've had that head off of it a couple times, and I don't trust the head. But that's just me. But
well, you have a head, so you don't got to worry about that, right?
Right, exactly. Like I said, everything in mine's only got 400,000 miles on it, so I wouldn't think the cam would be bad. And the injectors, it was running, but the truck has sat for about 8 years. It's my very first truck, so I just thought I'd, start my career in it and maybe end my career in it.
There you go.
So it's something that I've been thinking about contemplating. But like I said, I'll give you a call later on, when you're your shop and maybe get a quote from you. And like I said, I got a couple cats that you might want. So to build one of them twin turbo 640s, and then I got an extra 5EK too.
Sounds good, brother, man.
So, all right, man. I thank you for your time. Have a great evening.
You too. Good luck.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, we're going to take one more caller, and then we'll, because we got a guy in here for 28 minutes. We're going to take one more caller, then we'll do a little bit of bounce around the comment section. Then we'll come take another caller here. We just grabbed another one. I was going to say we only have one more caller, but Richard.
Hey, how are you?
Good, man.
Say, got a bit of an awkward situation with a cat, and well, you're about the only cat expert that I know. Bought a truck, supposedly had 165,000 on an end frame. He ran it for 2 years, parked it, went out, would let it idle every 3 weeks. What he's idle for a couple hours. My problem is somewhere in that time frame. I don't know if the oil cooler took a crap out on him or what happened, but when I bought the truck, I had to take it down to my brother's place in Arizona doing oil cooler on it, and I've had it back now about 3 weeks. Truck's been running great, but now I'm back to pumping some kind of fluid into the coolant system. And I've taken it to a cat mechanic, or he's mostly a Cummins guy, but he said it looks like it's diesel, but he doesn't understand how it's making a sludge like oil would. So my question is, how screwed am I, and how soon do I need to be looking into doing another in-frame on it?
Well, diesel fuel can make sludge. Certainly can. It's usually pretty easy to figure out if you have diesel fuel rather than oil. And one of the ways to figure that out is just to dip a rag or paper towel or something in it and put a lighter to it. And if she starts to pop and crackle and snap and try to light, it's diesel fuel. That's one way to figure out if it's diesel fuel. A very easy way. But if you're usually stuff like what you're describing doesn't happen independently. You know, it's not there's a correlating event usually. And so let's back up a little bit. If you or in the last 6 months or so, have you had any kind of event of any kind where you had to add coolant to the system?
Yes, almost. I'll be honest. I bought the truck at the tail end of January and spent 2 weeks trying to get it road ready, doing lights and other miscellaneous things, wiring issues that these guys had completely screwed up. But yes, I have had to add coolant to the system repeatedly. I should have added. I did the old water bottle test on it, where I put the overflow tube down into a water bottle, and while I wasn't making bubbles like a fish in a tank, there were still one every, I don't know, let's call it 15, 20 seconds where I was getting bubbles.
I personally don't believe in the water bottle and bubble test in any way, shape, or form. I don't think it's an accurate way of measuring anything. An accurate way to measure things is how much coolant you happen to add to it, why were you adding coolant to it, or combustion gas testing with fluid that's made for it. All cooling systems are going to build pressure and suction and things of that nature, depending on the temperature of the cooling system. So I guess my question is how much coolant have you had to add, and why were you having to add coolant?
Probably, I put a gallon in this morning when I stopped and got fuel, or after I fired up the truck, pulled up the fuel island to get fuel. As to why I'm adding it, I don't know. I don't have any visible traces on the outside of the motor as to where it could be going. That tube from the reservoir tank stays typically pretty dry inside of it. So I don't know if we're burning it. The smoke is black like fuel. It's not gray or discolored like I've got oil or water.
You're probably pressuring your system up, but I guess we're kind of talking past each other here. Basically, but before you were having to add coolant in it today, there was some kind of an event before all this where you lost coolant of some kind. That's what I'm getting at. But at the point that you're at now, that cylinder head is bad. There is nothing else to talk about. You need to change the cylinder head. You're chasing your ass for no reason. It's certainly not an oil cooler. You're putting diesel fuel into your coolant. Your injector cups are smoked, but going into that thing and doing injector cups, in my opinion, is already a waste of time. A cylinder head is bad. You're just going to throw money away. You're going to do injector cups that might help with the fuel and the coolant problem, but your overall problem's not going to go away, and your coolant and the fuel, or your fuel and the coolant problem, will most likely come right back after a very short amount of time. You need a new cylinder head.
Okay. Second part to this, I guess, and I don't want to make it a sales pitch or anything, but when I had the oil cooler housings off and everything to reseal all of that, I noticed a shit ton. I mean, more than I care to admit, cavitation on liners and everything. So if I do a cylinder head, I just want to go ahead and rebuild it because honestly, I don't trust the guy I bought the truck from. I'm not saying that he pulled a fast one on me, but
Sounds like it.
you sell a Peterbilt with a overhauled cat for $10,000. Somebody's getting the shaft, and typically it's not the guy selling the truck.
Sure.
So my question would be to you, since I want to do the rebuild a certain way, I want to go to 16-to-1 pistons because I want to drop the compounds off of it. And without making it a sales pitch, is HHP a good, reliable source for me to get my parts from, or come to you and get them from you?
No, they're the only people I buy stuff from. And you got to understand that HHP, I would say that they don't make their own parts, but they do now that they're partnered with me, Matt. But and our parts release in 10 days. That's the news I announced at the beginning. I want to talk about it a little bit more before we wrap it up tonight. We got a whole hour though, so we're good. But I buy from HHP because you get, I mean, it's not like you're not getting quality products. The same products you can get from pretty much everybody else. But it's more about keeping your purchasing power in one spot. And I'm going to keep that purchasing power in a spot where they actually give a fuck about you. When you call them up front, you're going to be pleasantly surprised with how knowledgeable they are, how they can point you in the right direction. You just tell them what you're trying to do. It doesn't matter who you get over there. They're going to know exactly everything that you need to make it happen. And they're going to have all kinds of options for you. And they're also going to take care of you if you have problems on the back end. So what more could you ask from a company, right? And they ship fast as fuck. They have like 5 locations, and they can pretty much get you within 2 to 3 days, no matter where you're at. I mean, they've been rated as the #1 diesel engine parts reseller or parts seller in the nation. I mean, that's why they had their huge acquisition, is because they're the most valuable company in our industry. Well, that's for a reason, right? So, yeah, yes, I'd highly recommend them. So, anyway, hope that helps.
Yes, sir. You surely gave me a ballpark of where I need to be looking and what I need to be doing. So I appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir. Have a good night and good luck with that thing.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Bye. So I was saying earlier in the show, got a couple of awesome things going on for us right now. We just had a meeting with Highway and Heavy Parts. I got to fly to Atlanta. We have one more final review of our kits before they release. Obviously, you know, we've had samples of all the parts come here. I've done a lot of independent testing and things of that nature. I got to have a lot of oversight on development. And we're like 10 days away from dropping our first line of parts, which will be kits for your Acerts, kits for your C15s, and kits for your older, you know, 6TS and 5EK and all that. We're going to have the whole cat line covered. We are still sticking true to our no questions asked ironclad warranty. But we have all kinds of innovative and cool things. All these things are going to be coated. The rods and mains are going to be Teflon coated. They already are. You know, your piston crowns are going to be ceramic coated, and so on and so forth. We have a turbo coming out that's ceramic coated inside and out. Just super excited about it. I got to learn so much about the coating process that I went ahead and pulled the trigger. And by the end of this coming week, we're opening up our own coating section here in this shop. We dedicated 2,000 square foot, built ourselves a clean room with, you know, forced air to keep everything clean. And we're going to start coating here. We're going to start doing Teflon coatings, ceramic coatings, ceramic polymer coatings, and ceramic titanium coatings. So we're super excited about that. So we're going to be able to upgrade anything we want. We have cylinder heads coming out that have Teflon coated valves, you know, the valve stems, and and Teflon coated valves themselves, Inconel with Teflon coating on them. We're looking at, I'm going to be testing coating the inside portion of the cylinder heads, the exhaust side with ceramics, and see if we can ceramic coat the heads themselves. We have an industrial size oven being delivered here where I can put whole heads in it. We could probably put 10 heads in this damn thing. So pretty excited about that. Our rings are coming out. I got an update on those today. Our gapless rings are going to be in our hands and available for everybody. They told me 5 weeks is the best case, but we're probably looking at 6 weeks. So we're still a month and a half away from that, but at least I got an update. Those are being forged right here in the United States. All these parts are being done here in the United States, which is really cool. Yeah, you know, a lot of people were making comments when I was talking about the tariffs. Oh, he's just worried about his parts line. Our shit's being made here in the United States, so thank you for all that. So pretty excited. We have these gapless rings going to be in our hands soon. And we also have a few other cool items up our sleeve. I can't wait to reveal to everybody, including some pretty cool stuff for the ISXs. We have a fix coming here. A guy patented and invented a thermostat that goes into your current housing that will drop your temperatures. Instead of having to pay $4,000 to buy a dual oil cooler, we can achieve the same thing for a $300 patented item that we're going to start making available. I partnered with a guy on it. Really cool, or partnering with a guy on it. Really cool patented item that he has that takes your existing house and drops the temperature dramatically. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming. I'm super excited. It's just really cool to be not only be a part of all this stuff, but to actually be able to put input into it and see what works, what doesn't work, and get to ask for and actually get to see happen, you know, applications that we want to see happen, like certain coatings and some things of that nature. So anyway, super exciting times for us. And we're going to be offering a lot more services here. We're going to do make coatings available for other people. You want to get your kits coated, you can just order a kit, have it sent here. We'll coat everything and send it right back out to you. So it's going to be pretty cool, guys. Are we going to sell intake and exhaust manifolds of our own? Yes, 100%. We have a turbo in development right now. It's a 78 millimeter 145 that we're ceramic coating the inside and the outside. That's what we're focusing in on right now. We hope to have that developed and dropped in this same 10-15 day window. It's looking like it might happen, and as soon as we have that as a product that we are selling, then we're going to move all of our attention to manifolds. So absolutely, we're going to have our own intake and exhaust manifolds. And of course, we're all about the coatings, man. We're probably going to have a ceramic coated intake manifold for the X15 is kind of what we're molding and talking about doing. So, and we may be having an engine dyno in our shop soon too. And there's some talk about us getting a rottler as well, so we can start doing our own machining. What we got going on right now, like behind the scenes, is we are in negotiations with a company that makes blocks for Cat and Cummins and things like that. We're in process of making a deal to start getting the raw blocks. If you get the raw blocks in, and this place is in Brazil, so it'd be a forge in Brazil, and then we'd get them here, and we would need that rottler to finish those blocks out, finish machining them. That way they're being finished in the United States. So we may be having our a line of new blocks coming out here soon for every platform. We've been working really hard on that. So a lot of exciting stuff. We fully intend in the next 6 months to a year to be the leader in all of the fields to do with heavy duty diesel. That's our plan. You need a ceramic coated heart to combat your cholesterol. Right? Oh man. You know, not trying to give anybody life advice, brother, but you could drink a couple ounces of extra virgin olive oil. I do every morning. And that would, I promise you, your cholesterol numbers would dramatically change in just a few months. But somebody asked me on here, do I prefer full tilt manifolds or PDI manifolds? Honestly, they both make a good exhaust manifold. I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't. Steed Speed makes a good exhaust manifold. The only thing I don't like, I use more full tilts than I do PDI. I do like them better, mainly for their bolt up reasons. PDIs is more geared towards using their turbo, and I like to use manifolds that you don't have to have a special turbo to use. They do give you a conversion kit for them, but anyway. All right, guys, we have a few callers here. Go ahead and take them and see what people have to say. Hey, Aaron, this is Aaron.
Hey, how you doing? So I have a friend that has a 2016 Freightliner, DD15. His problem is when he goes up the hill, his turbo is working just fine, but when he's coming down the hill and he's brake braking, his turbo is only going up to 3 psi. He tried adjusting the valves. He's changed his, I guess they call it the engine brake solenoid, and he doesn't know what to do now.
What kind of engine?
It's a DD15.
Okay.
Detroit.
So your DD15 has a VGT turbo, so the VGT is not sliding. That typically means that the turbo's fucked up.
Okay. And then, well, do you have any recommendations? I know I saw you guys. You have any recommendations of any good shops in California?
Oh, no. I try not to know anyone in California.
Come on.
No, I don't. I mean,
All right.
I think through all of this stuff that we're doing here that we're going to have a much better network of shops around the country. We have a dealer program on our parts line that's going to give me a much bigger access to shops all over the country, and have at least some metric of kind of quantifying, what is a good shop and what isn't, at least to an extent. So that is part of our goal here is, being able to, when a guy calls me from California and this and that, and says, hey, do you know a good shop? Yeah, I do. I do know a good, at least from what we know. But right at this time, Andrew Long says those are auto jakes. The turbo is VGT. It regulates everything from the idle to the boost. Yep. So the VGT acts as a third stage on your jakes. It puts all the back pressure against them. If you're not getting any boost on your jakes, I mean, all jakes work better with boost, right? And if you're not getting any boost on your jakes, it's the VGT is not sliding where it's supposed to.
Okay.
Somebody asked it if where are you at in California? My buddy Matt, I got a good buddy on here. Used to haul a lot of bees for me and stuff. He's out, and he runs California all the time. He's asking what part of California you're in, and he might know someone.
We're up and down the 5. So I mean, Northern California, and there's Sacramento's closest to home.
Okay. Well, yeah, watch the Facebook comments. Matt might give you a clue of a good shop. Okay.
All
righty. I appreciate your time.
All right, sir. Have a good night and good luck.
Thank you. You too.
Yep.
Thank
Bye. Again, guys, oh man, my back hurts all of a sudden. This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett, the owner of Hack Nation Diesel Repair in San Antonio, Texas. The call-in number is 573-422-4225. I encourage you to call in and be a part of the show. If you're watching on TikTok, we highly encourage you to go over to Facebook or YouTube. You can hear the caller. It's much more interactive over there. Not that we don't appreciate the views on TikTok, but ByteDance doesn't allow us to integrate like Facebook and YouTube do. So I do like it's fun to watch the comments. There's so many people getting help in the comments. It's really cool. It's really cool. This is a fun show. I'm glad we do this. A lot of people get help. A lot of people get help that aren't even calling in. You know, they're getting helped in the comments and stuff and this and that. So go ahead and take another caller here. Hi, you're on the air, brother.
Hey, this is Darren. How's it going?
Good, man. What can I do for you?
So, 2006 MaxxForce, recently rebuilt. I have a problem with it. When the temperature is below 150 on the oil temp and the water temp, the IVAs don't work great. It'll backfire, blow up smoke. I let it warm up, let temperatures get to 160, 165 degrees, it'll run fine.
Well, your VVAs aren't even working when it's under that temperature.
What would cause it to backfire and throw white smoke?
Bad injector. And once it warms up, once it warms up, the other cylinders are running so efficiently that it seems like the problem goes away.
Okay. So I had this engine rebuilt about 200,000 miles ago. It did it before that, had it rebuilt, new injectors. So it's still doing the same thing.
Could be your internal wiring harness.
Had that replaced too.
What you're describing is an injector problem. And I can tell you one thing, brother man, that new injectors are are probably more prone to being bad than old injectors.
Okay.
Anybody advertising new injectors, unless they're coming directly from CAT, is lying to you, by the way. Because for anybody to produce a new injector, they have to go through all the EPA rules, and they have to, be tested by the EPA, and it's a couple $100,000 process. So everybody is doing a reman injector, including the people telling you they're new injectors. Now, these guys get so close to a new injector, like some of them, like Highway and Heavy Parts nowadays is doing new injector bodies, new solenoids, new, but they have to have some reman parts in it. Otherwise they fall into a category where they have to comply with EPA as a new product. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, I totally.
So there's really no such thing as a brand new injector.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
it's just so odd that like once it warms up,
not really.
Then it's fine. But if
that all that does is scream injector.
Does it? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, how do you diagnose that?
You have
or
to
you just replace all six?
You have to have a computer. I mean, there's hillbilly ways to do it, but none of them are very, very accurate at all.
The only time it misses is like if I put it under a load, go over 20 pounds of boost.
That's an injector. I was gonna ask you if under load if the problem seems to come back. That's an injector, 100%.
Okay, so to diagnose it, you basically have to have somebody in the truck waiting for it to misfire and miss.
No, you have to have a
Or,
computer. You have to have
yeah.
a computer. You're gonna have to go to CAT, Peterbilt, Kenworth, or any independent shop that has a computer that can isolate which one it is. Most shops, if they're not pieces of shit, charge you an hour. And honestly, that's overkill.
No, I've got a good shop, so
okay, there you go.
I'll he was kind of thinking it was an IVA problem.
No.
So I'll maybe kind of direct him into an injector.
Your problem's there before the VVAs even turn on. The VVAs do not operate.
And they don't turn on until after about 160 degrees,
I can't
right?
remember what the exact temperature is, but it's something like that. Yep. The engine has to be up to operating temperature. They won't come on.
Okay. Well, I'll pass that along and see if we can get it figured out. But I love that Acert. That's like the best engine I've ever had. I've had 6 NZs. I've had 5 EKs. And I love that Acert, that NSX. It's the most incredible engine I've ever had.
Well,
for Montana.
You still have a bad injector.
I'll get that looked into, and we'll chase that down and see what see what that's all about. But gives me another idea and something I can do to chase it down. Not only my truck, but another guy's truck is doing it. So.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, everything you've described, this isn't one of those ones where I'm looking at the comment section, seeing if anybody can help me out. You have a bad injector. All right, brother?
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Well, thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye. We do every engine here, and we do so many. And I've owned all kinds of trucks, but I owned 15 cats for 15 years. Cat questions are easy for me. Some of the other ones can be a little challenging. Yeah, Charlie's right. Yeah, OEM still offers new injectors. But they're the only ones that do because they already went through the EPA process. That's my whole point. If you want a brand new injector for reals, you want a real new injector, not just some fucking buddy saying they're giving you a new injector. You have to go to the OEM manufacturer to get a new injector. That's just the way it is. All these other they're claiming that they have new injectors in there. It's just pretty much your litmus test is core. If the answer is yes, it's not a new injector. Anyway. I drive an Acert and it did the same thing. It was the IV bad. It ain't what I have owned overhauled and broken and worked on probably 500 or 600 of them, and I'm still convinced it's an injector. So you owning a cat is not proof that it's not an injector. I'm just saying. And me working on all those engines and owning them is not proof that it is an injector, but I'm betting it's an injector. Anyhow, guys, oh God. Man, why is my back hurting? My back never hurts. Yep, 98% injector. Yep. I mean, that's about what highway and heavy parts are. They're so close to new. It's ridiculous, but they don't advertise them as new because they can't, because they're technically not. My back hurts because I dropped the soap. Oh man, somebody's old lady's talking shit. Frank, you're on the air.
Frank or TJ?
Well, I don't know. DJ Frank. Robert.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, I was just calling in, see what your opinions were. I've watched a couple of your videos, and I'm getting ready to overhaul. I got a 12.7 Detroit, and then I've got a 14-liter cam in it, bigger turbo, injectors, full tilt manifold, and anyway, I'm getting ready to overhaul it again, and my mechanic's talking about wanting to put a PDI tuner on it, and I watched some of your videos, and one of them on the older PDI tunes. You know, I'd seen they were kind of responsible for a lot of engine failures, but it looked like on another video, the newer tuners that are coming out, something that you would recommend having. I was just calling to see what your thoughts were on that.
So the tuners that they have now, they're pretty cool because they give you a heads up and they give you a lot of information, right? It's basically like having a computer in your truck. So they're very beneficial in that regard. The tuning that they do, what they do there is when you hook it up, it flashes your truck to its original factory tune. Okay, whatever the factory tune was for that thing, that's what it's going to flash it to, and then it will put its own overlay in that, which is retarding the timing in adding some fuel, and it gives you about 80, 100 or 100 or so horsepower. It's done entirely with the fuel. It is very similar, very, very similar to the old Pittsburgh power box that you could put on your trucks back in the day. So it's almost the exact same concept. Now,
okay,
that style of tuning is not going to grenade your engine, so to speak. Is it going to wear your engine out faster than if you didn't do that? The answer is, of course, it's going to. But it is not going to grenade your engine. It's not going to be cause of catastrophic failure, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, what should I be watching on the barometer? Like right now, I can't even. It won't hardly see 900. If I put that tuner on, you know, we add some horsepower to it. What should I be watching as far as
shouldn't make any difference. You shouldn't have to worry about it. I don't push their tuners here because we do our own custom tuning. Number one. Number two is I mean, not everybody has something great to say about their tuners, right? And I don't know, it makes me nervous. That's all. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're going to destroy your engine because I don't believe they will. I do know that the guy that set up their tuners, I have talked to him personally, and you know, I know a lot of the lingo as well because we do similar things here. And after talking to him for about 20, 30 minutes, the guy knows what he's doing. And he's not out to destroy anybody's shit. So without promoting it, I'm not promoting it at the same time. Does that make sense? I just want to stay kind of neutral on it. But it's not something that I'm putting on trucks here in my shop.
Right. Okay. All right. Do you have any recommendations for what would be the best tuning options for them if a guy would decide not to go PDI?
Yeah, factory 550 tune.
Okay.
I mean, if you want a 1,000,000-mile engine, that's how you do it.
Okay. All right, sir. I appreciate your time and thanks for picking up the call.
Yep. Have a good one, man.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
All right, we're going to take some more calls, but I want to hit the comment section really quick. I see a conversation going on here about checking your fuel for bubbles. I just wanted to kind of comment on that, guys. That's not an accurate way to check for anything. All of your fuel is going to have an acceptable amount, rather, of bubbles in it. Like, let's say for cat, you have to have the inline sight glass that has the bubble counter on it. I own them. And that's the only way you can accurately tell if you have excessive bubbles, because all of your fuel is going to have bubbles in the system consistently, no exceptions. So there's actually tooling for that to measure the bubble count. I have them here. They are very accurate. They work really, really well. But just checking to see, is there bubbles in my fuel? Well, if there's not bubbles in your fuel, you have problems. So that's not an accurate way to check anything, guys. Checking for bubbles in your fuel doesn't tell you anything at all. Everybody has bubbles in their fuel. It's part of the operating system. Heard you might do a ceramic coating deal. Is that true? Yeah. So once we get our coating station up and running, we already got it all prepped and ready to go. We're just waiting on the oven to get delivered. I should have got the biggest one. The biggest one is 16 by 8 by 8, but I got one size down. I just thought, man, I don't know if I ever need an oven that big, but fuck, we could have cooked the whole crew in there. Could have made a hell of a lot of pizzas, but yeah, we're gonna do a promo for all of the engine bit kits. We have I think there's 30 or 32 kits in the shop right now waiting to go in trucks. We're gonna do a promo on those. See if anybody wants to upgrade elite status their kits that are already here. We're going to hit them first. Then we're going to do probably do some kind of promo with our coding. So do I presume our 640 builds will last 1,000,000 miles? Yes. The reason that I make an exception for our 640 builds is we're very selective. We're building them on, and the tuning we do is very similar to what PDI is doing, but we're doing a lot more there. We're coating everything for longevity reasons. We're using higher grade parts. Everything is overbuilt, built tough, kind of like the kits we have dropping here in about 10 days. Everything is overbuilt. All the product lines that we have coming out are overbuilt. And it all is based around this success on stuff like that 640 build. We have about 70 of those running around the country. Probably 3/5 of them are long outside their warranty. We've yet to have a single major warranty claim on any of them. We haven't had any of them have any problems. There's several of them that are reaching 4 years old. It has been our most successful platform. And so we're replicating that, and we've done that. We've replicated that platform into N14s, into several of your 6NZs and the older. We haven't replicated that in your 5EK 60Ss, but all of the ones forward, your 1LWs, your 2WSs, we have replicated that with massive success. And this coming week, we're going to do our first replication of that process on a 60S that I'm building that's going to be for sale here, where we are coating in Teflon the rods and mains. We're coating the valves in Teflon, and we're coating the pistons in ceramic, and we're coating the and this is all stock. Okay, we're doing stock manifold, stock turbo, stock pistons, but we're upgrading them in-house. We're going to take the stock manifold, we're going to coat that with a ceramic titanium, and then the springs we're coating in a ceramic polymer. That way, even though it's in a motion, it will not flake, it will not crack, it will not come off. And we're going to basically fucking coat everything on that thing. Now we're taking the turbo, we're coating the hot housing inside and out. with ceramic titanium as well. And it's going to be our little guinea pig. We're going to see how it works out. We already know how it's going to work out because we've done so many, but we're going even older. And we're going to start offering that for stuff like your big cams, your N14s, and first and foremost, the ISX platform is where all of our attention is going. Your 870s, 871s, 22, 2350s, and the X15 platforms. We are going to be offering specialty coatings, not only in-house, but in our kits. The kits we have coming out over the next couple of months are going to be offered completely pimped out with all coatings. What is the benefit to a ceramic coating? Somebody asked. The benefit to a ceramic coating is it reflects all the heat. You don't have heat soaking into the piston crown, which obviously increases longevity, but it also gives you better horsepower, better fuel mileage, better performance, because all of the energy is being transferred. And, you know, coupled with your ceramic manifold, and hopefully we're going to do some test runs here. We're also going to have ceramic coated exhaust ports on the cylinder head itself. So pretty excited about all that. I just developing these products with highway and heavy parts and getting to actually go be a part of all this process, just like made light bulbs go off for me. Question on TikTok, why can't I hear the other side of the conversation? Because you have to watch this on Facebook or YouTube to be integrated in with the callers and all of that. We stream it on TikTok just because TikTok's where our start was, and we never want the TikTok viewers to miss out. So anyway, guys, when will Thomas be on the show? I don't think Thomas would do too good on the show. He does pretty good in front of a camera, but that's about it. If you ever came here and met him, it's hard to get a word out of him at all. He's actually very, very shy. Ceramic doesn't transfer heat. It's a natural barrier. That's the same thing, my friend. If you have a barrier to the heat, it's being transferred. It's not like it stays in there. It leaves. That's the whole point, right? What oil do you recommend? So, oh boy, I don't want to go down the oil rabbit hole, guys. Not tonight. We're running out of time on the show here, and I got callers I got to get to. Ask me next week. We'll go down the oil rabbit hole. We're also coming out with our own petroleum product line. I'm working with a performance petroleum company out of Chicago, Illinois. Super excited about it. We're going to be coming out with our own break-in oil, which is going to be a low moly, high zinc. And then we're going to be coming out with a 40,000 to 50,000 mile between oil changes, full synthetic. We want it to be comparable to AMS oil for quality, and but I want to keep a price point of like Rotella's T6. That way it's accessible to everybody. Anyway, Gilbert, you're on the air, brother.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, man? We're
Good.
calling from Houston.
Yes, sir. What can we do for you?
Hey, man, I got an 05 Cat Acert. I'm getting kind of like a stutter, not constantly, but maybe when I'm accelerating heavy, sometimes at idle. We ran like a Cat ET. He said cylinder 3 at idle, you can feel it when you cut it out, but like when you rev up the RPMs and then you do the cutout, then you don't feel it. Is that something that could be leading to the problem of the stutter?
I mean, if he's finding a bad injector, why haven't we just changed that injector? I don't understand that.
I guess the mechanic couldn't really give me he didn't say it was 100% what my problem was, because it wasn't acting up when I took it to him. It didn't do any of the hiccups. He just did the cutout test, and like I said, at idle, you can feel it when he cut it out, and when he revved it up a little bit, maybe like 12 or 1400 RPM.
So he didn't do a cutout test where he had the computer go through the whole test, and you guys walked away and came back 20 minutes later when it was all done?
No, I don't think he didn't do that.
Then
No.
you need to go to a shop that doesn't suck.
Okay. All right, guys.
You probably
So
have.
I guess
You probably have a bad injector, but you need to go to a shop that isn't jackasses, because that's stupid. Either that or he doesn't have the right programming and had no business touching your stuff anyway. You need to go to a shop that has CAT and will run an injector cutout test where they're not trying to guess, and the computer will tell them exactly which injector is bad, and there's no guesswork.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, no. I've never had any issues with this one. So I was just trying to figure out what to do,
Yep.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time, man, and I love your TikTok videos, man. I'm glad you guys are closer to Texas. I know you're in San Antonio, so that's cool, man. I need to stop by there one day if I head out that direction.
Yeah, do it, brother.
All right, man. You have a good night, sir. I
You
appreciate
too.
your time.
Yep. Bye.
All right, thanks.
Hey, we got 4 more callers. We're almost to the end of the show. I don't mind going over, but I'm not gonna take any more callers. So if you call in, I won't take it. We're gonna take the 4 that are here. They don't hang up, but no additional callers. But we'll hang out a little bit in the comment section. I'm not in a hurry to get out of here. The callers are kind of committed, So we'll take these last 4 callers. We'll burn through them, and then we'll spend a little time in the comment section and hang out with everybody, and then we'll call our night. So hang on, guys. Let's go through these callers, and then we'll take some Q&A in the comment section and wrap it up. So, hey, you're on the air, brother. Joseph, I think.
Hey, yes, this is Brad. I'm just following you guys on Facebook, and just appreciate you, being willing to share some of the stuff that you come across and how you fix some stuff. But hey, I'm gonna change the subject on you just a little bit. Talk about Detroit just a little bit. We got 2014 Coronado XD, and it had a DD13 in it that seized up in it. I think I'd texted you or sent you a message on it one time, but I'm going to pull that engine out, and I'm going to replace it and put I got a 14 liter to go back in it. Have you got any recommendations or any advice? I mean, it's just a farm truck. We don't use it all the time, but it does haul pretty heavy. But have you got any recommendations that you could just hit me with?
Yeah, get a hold of Custom Truck and get all the stuff you need to make that conversion work, or you're going to have a truck that you're never going to be able to get running again.
And that's the one that's out of Oregon, correct?
Yep. Now they're gonna require a glider number from you, so make sure you have that.
Okay. I can get that, but
well,
anyway,
the correct answer is I have a glider.
Yes, it is a glider now.
It always has been.
Right.
Right.
But anyway, we bought an engine. It's a 14 liter. It's got 3,500 engine hours on it that come out of a fire truck. It was a 515 horse. Would you recommend just leaving it just like that and putting it back in like that? Or are there anything while I'm putting it in the truck, are there anything you would recommend tweaking or changing on the thing? Because that's going to be more power than what that truck, came with.
I would just leave it alone probably, but I would be curious to know if that fire engine had Jake brakes. Most of the time they do not.
It does. It does. I pulled the cover off today, and I did see it does have Jake brake. It does have a Jake brake on it and stuff. And it looked, I mean, I'm not a diesel expert, but I worked on a bunch of old tractors, farm tractors and stuff. So this is a big undertaking for me and my dad and my brother. We're kind of
doing this on our own. We do have some heavy duty truck shops around here that can kind of help us, but we can't afford as a farm truck to pay the labor on a lot of this stuff. So I'm trying to do a lot of it myself.
If you use custom truck, you can pull it off.
Okay. That's who we was talking to. My brother had already called them. They said that they said they was like six weeks behind. So I was going to go ahead and give them all those numbers and stuff to go ahead and get them harnesses made.
Yep.
But
I would go the extra mile and ask them for anything that they can offer to help you out. They're going to give you the correct motor mounts. They're going to give you all that stuff. I wouldn't just because
I've got the accessory drives and all that is wrong on the front of that thing. It's like an older, it's like a 05 14 liter, and it had like an older style accessory drive. I got to change all that out. I've got to get it looks like you got to change the air compressor, or not the air compressor, but the air condition and the alternator. It don't have. It didn't come with that, so I'm trying to figure out what I can.
They can help you with all of that. That's what I'm trying to say. You just tell them what you're trying. Tell them what you got.
Oh, okay. Even all those accessories.
Fucking A. Everything.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you again. I appreciate y'all's time. Enjoy your show. Enjoy watching you on YouTube. Y'all just take care of yourself and be safe.
All right, sir. Thank you. Have good luck with that thing. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Bye. Boy, he's in for a ride. Those are doing conversions like that. There's something else. I always feel for anybody that's doing their first one. It's just Jesus. I don't think he said it's one that's been on fire engine from a fire truck or fire engine one that's been on fire. I think he means it's from a fire truck, fire engine, not one that's been on fire. But it's a good point. All right. Had another caller call in. I'm gonna drop you, not to be a dick. I just don't want you to sit there on hold because I'm not gonna take you anyway. We're gonna close down the callers here, so we're gonna take these last couple here. These last three. Hello, you're on the air.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I had a question. So I got a truck with an X15, and recently, since maybe the beginning of the year, it's been doing constant regions. And I took it to a shop a couple months ago, and they told me that my carbon levels were really high on my DPF, and the mechanic ran two regions in order to bring it back down to zero. But he said that it's kind of weird that my engine is producing a lot of carbon. Or at least that's what he said. That something is wrong that's causing it to produce a lot of carbon. So at that time, I was running PDI's tuner, but I had it on economy. I didn't have it on power. So he told me to go ahead and remove it just to keep it on stock. Maybe that way that'll maybe reduce some of the fuel it was burning. But the problem didn't go away. So and my truck still has that problem where it's constantly doing regions, and it's kind of annoying because some of my work is local work. So it's kind of a pain in the butt when you have to shift gears and it's constantly on region because, you know, the RPM is up and down.
So my limited knowledge of after treatment, you could have a problem with your EGR. You could also have a blown up engine. That will cause that problem. But where I would start, let's say I was in your shoes. This is where I would start. And this is just what we've seen here in this shop from guys that don't have problems like you're having versus guys that do have problems like you're having, is take your EGR system off of there and go have it cleaned and then put it back on. And there's a good chance that most of your problems will go away.
Okay, and just to note, the my motor only has about 144,000 miles, so it's fairly new.
That doesn't matter. I mean,
Oh, okay. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
I mean, running a PDI tune on it, this and that. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I don't want to throw PDI under the bus. It's not my intent here at all. But you're fucking with it, right? Could have a broken ring or something and be putting all kinds of carbon and stuff into your system. But yeah, there's a good. Is it using coolant at all? You having any other issues?
No, I guess maybe because my DPF filter is always, I'm assuming it's always high on carbon. I have noticed that my fuel mileage did drop about 0.2, because usually I was averaging about 6.4 for the week, and since I started doing that, it dropped to like 6.1, 6.2 in a good week, but it's only happened maybe like 3 times. Did I get that mileage?
Yeah, my guess is that tune probably sooted up your system horribly bad. Your EGR and all that are not working properly. Take all that shit off and have it cleaned. Most places will clean it for like $300 or $400.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And then as far as the manifold, they don't have anything to do with that, right?
Yeah, it should.
They won't play a factor in there, or will they?
It shouldn't.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I have customers that religiously take that system off and have it cleaned every 100,000 miles, and they don't have any DPF problems ever. They never have any problems. So take that for what it's worth. All right, brother?
Yeah, okay, so just one last question. So take off the EGR and take it to get cleaned, and then the DPF stuff as well, or just the EGR?
I would start with the EGR. Burn out your, do a regen to burn out your DPF, but clean the EGR.
Right. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good one, man. Good luck.
Thanks.
I mean, if nothing else, cleaning that part of your system can't hurt anything. That's for damn sure. This guy with the MaxxForce keeps calling back, and I keep letting him go. But anyway, all right, Tyler, you're on the air, man. Got 2 to go.
My name's Tyler. I got a 3406 B model cat that's in a truck, and we was hauling a load of cows yesterday, and we smoked it. And I'm kind of in a little bit of a time crunch to get it back going. And a buddy of mine that said get a hold of you guys, but I had already talked to you guys a couple times in the show. But we're looking at doing a long block because there's all kinds of bearing materials in the oil pan, and I haven't personally set eyes on it, but they say there was a bunch of silicone around where the oil pan gasket surface was, and it sucked a pretty good chunk of it into the sump and filled up an oil galley, and it just basically starved the motor for oil. But he said that you guys do like a 600 horse B model long block.
Well, we do specialize in building higher horsepower B models. There's not a whole lot of guys out there that build them at all, let alone juice them up, right? So we're kind of known. Right. We're kind of known for it, especially when we were in North Dakota. It seemed like everybody and their freaking mom brought us their B models. But I don't have any long blocks sitting around. B models are something that you don't build and set on the shelf and hope somebody calls for, because it's just not a desirable engine these days. You maybe get one phone.
They're just so outdated.
Yeah, you maybe get one phone call a year. People, hey, you got a B model sitting on the shelf, and where people, you get 15 calls a week. Hey, you got a 6NZ sitting on the shelf, so there's your sign.
Right. See, this motor, it's only got, the shop had rebuilt it down in Texas, and I'm out on the road right now, and I'm going to try and look at the paperwork when I get home, but I do have the odometer and the VIN number and all that on the receipts whenever they had rebuilt it, and it's only got like 120,000 on the rebuild.
Yeah, but you already
and it's just
you already explained why that doesn't matter, right? We suck stuff up in
it
there,
doesn't
we
right.
smoked some stuff and this and that. So, you know, here's what I'll tell you. It's almost it's almost always vastly more affordable to fix what you have. It's not always the case, but it's almost always the case.
Right. Right. That's just what worries me because I'm going to go let eyes on it tomorrow. Like I said, I'm not home, but and just really see how bad it is. And I mean, because to do an outer frame, but I mean, like depending on what. All I know is what he said is that there's bearing material in the oil pan. But does that mean that we had smoked out a main bearing and now we're going to have to be line boring on the block, or just there's so many questions there.
Why did we take it to the shop in the first place? Did it run when it went into the shop?
No, like I said, I was hauling with the cows last night, and it started making a ticking noise, and it was putting oil into the coolant. And so obviously I had to get to where I was unloading. It was about another hour up the road, and I had to get my cows off. And then I had it's actually a buddy of mine that owns a towing company. They also work on trucks and stuff. So I just had him tow it to his shop since I was wasn't going to be around to take a look at it. And they just basically opened it up to tell me what was going on with it today.
You drove it for an hour? An hour? You're crazy, man.
Well, you would think, but I tell you what, these animal rights people really sure do crack down if they see a load of cattle sitting on the side of the road on a hot day.
Sure.
But I don't know. It's kind of one of the things. What do you do? But like I said, we're kind of, and the problem is that even after I do rebuild this motor, because I paid money for this truck that had the rebuilt motor and all that, I'm going to have way more in it than what I'll ever get back out of it. So now that I'm here, I'd almost like to just put something in there that I'm going to like and I'm just going to want to keep. We've talked about possibly trying to, upgrade it to like an E model cat, but to me, like even listening to some of the other guys that's got on here, I mean, like what you say, you're really dealing with the huge pain in the ass of switching something from mechanical to electronical, and like the one guy said, they're 6 weeks behind, and I need the truck back as as quick as possible. But
yeah, that's not going to happen this time.
I just figured it's worth a shot.
That's not going to happen this time.
No,
you're not going to get it back quick.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have an easy answer for you, but
right. Right. I mean, I'm sure you guys are like everyone else that's in the country. You guys are probably pretty booked out because like this shop, they would drop a long block in it for me, but they wouldn't rebuild it. But I mean, if you guys wanted to mess with rebuilding it, I can usually find loads that get down towards Texas and could get it down there.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at it tomorrow and see what's going on.
Right. Yeah, cause like I said, they thought about, there was another guy that they had involved that had said that if needed to be, they could possibly do an end frame, but with all the metal shavings and then the fact that there was the silicone down in the sump of the oil pump and all that, there's too much contamination to try and do an end frame.
You either spun a bearing or you didn't, right? You don't have maybe some bearing material, so you either spun a bearing or you didn't. You don't have in the middle.
Well, right. But the thing is I'm not. Like I said, I haven't seen it to really know
what need to go do that.
How much and how bad.
Right. I mean, do you know how to get a hold of us? I mean, just get a hold of me. Take some pictures. It might not be near as bad as you think.
Right.
Right. I mean, did you drive it to the shop? Did it stop?
No,
Did it stop? Did it stop running?
No, it didn't stop running. Like I said, I got to where I was going and got unloaded and shut it off, and that was it.
Right. Then you don't have a spun bearing. I mean, You might be getting fed a line of shit. Go check it out yourself for sure. All right, brother.
Right. I mean, I definitely know it was knocking. So I mean, there's definitely something. But,
Yeah, but it's a B model. There's all kinds of things that could be making it knocking. You could have a lifter that's fucked. You could have a push rod that's fucked. You could have fuel knock. You could have so much going on.
Right. Yeah, I'll get up there, and like I said, I think I got your guys' number saved in my phone here, so I can give you a call and maybe try and get you some pictures and see what we can figure out on.
All right, brother. Good luck.
So, yeah, thank you.
Yep. Bye. I get so many calls throughout the week with people that, I mean, they don't even have a clue what's going on with their engine. I mean, you gotta do a little due diligence and before you start trying to make the plan of what course of action do I take. Well, that's the second thing you do, not the first thing you do. I don't know why you guys can barely hear me. I have the mic cranked all the way up, and I put my mouth on it. I don't know why you guys can barely hear me. Sorry about that. All right, let's take this last one here. Ghost, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. How's it going today, man?
Good.
Oh man, that's a good deal. Okay, I got a question about the SDP Caterpillar, man. I know you have made a few videos, and I've watched all of them. But my question, when I'm running through the gears, I can get 40 pounds of boost. When I get to cruising speed, I can only get about 30 pounds of boost. Have you heard of that issue before?
It's pretty common on a compound turbo system. That's the way they operate. They'll when you're cruising along, it will drop down back into your low pressure turbo, and you're not using a shit ton of boost. The only time that you're going to see high boost pressures is when you're working that motherfucker. If you're just cruising along the highway, if you're not losing boost and having a performance issue, if you're just watching the gauge and it's going down and that concerns you, but it's not actually having any kind of performance issue, that's what they do. That's part of their fuel saving technique, so to speak. Not that you could ever get good fuel mileage on an Acert in the first place, but that was the thought behind it.
Well, the performance is the issue. Like, man, I can't go over an overpass. I'll lose 5 miles an hour going over an overpass. Well, at cruising speed. Now, man, if I just get on it and run through the gears and stay in it, man, that's not gonna do 100. But if I let off the gas and just try to cruise, man, it's gonna fall on its face going over every bump in the road.
And you can build up to 40.
Now,
You can build 40 pounds of boost.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As long as I'm running through the gears, I can build 40 pounds of boost. Once I get the cruise, it will not build 40 pounds of boost again.
It almost sounds like you're derated.
Yeah, you can feel. I can feel it. Like man, I can feel it kind of tug back or whatever, man. I pull a tank too, so I mean, but it has nothing to do with the surge. But
no, I'm
yeah,
with you.
I can feel it kind of lose that power.
Like it's robbing the power from you.
Correct. Almost like it's starved for fuel, man. I've changed fuel filters. I've cleaned out fuel lines. Tanks are clean, and it feels like it's starving for fuel somewhere. But man, everything. I got great fuel pressure. A buddy of mine put it on the computer, and I've even had him ride with me. He's plugged in and ride with me. He's like, man, you're not throwing no check engine codes. You're not throwing nothing. Everything is right tight. He ran the rack on it, adjusted the actuators, all that, man. I still get this issue.
Okay. Man, you don't have any check engine lights?
No check engine lights.
Okay, there's a list of things that can cause your engine to act derated without a check engine light. The number one, first and foremost one, is your boost pressure sensor. Your boost pressure sensor so your boost pressure sensor runs on a diaphragm, and that diaphragm can get filled with soot. In fact, they almost always get filled with soot. And the engine isn't able to read properly what the boost is, and and it will not fuel properly because of that. Your barometric pressure sensor, the exact same thing. It runs on a diaphragm. Your intake air temp sensor will get completely coated in soot and will not read properly. And your truck depends incredibly heavily on your intake air temp sensor to decide how it's going to fuel. Those three sensors can cause it to act derated.
Okay. I will check those three out. I will start there.
So in the comments, there's a lot of comments about turbos and air filters and boost, boost leaks and this and that. The reason I'm not pushing those directions.
Air filters, I did change out there.
But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
You can kind of almost rule those out because it wouldn't build 40 pounds of boost when you're running through the gears if that was the case.
Okay.
Yeah. And you really need somebody to hook up to it with a computer. Like I had a guy come here today.
Yeah.
Hang on. I had a guy come here today with a cat. Poor bastard waited like 3 hours for me to come. I didn't really realize he was here. Nobody told me. He sat in our parking lot for like 3 hours. I finally went out there and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, I don't know. It's got a miss. It's got a really bad miss. And I changed the injectors and it still has the same miss. And I got in the truck and cycled through his flash codes and it flashed 1, 2 injector fault. His wiring harness is bad, right? Yeah, but it wasn't throwing a check engine light for him in the dash, but the engine knew that his wiring harness was bad. And I only spent 5 seconds with the guy. I was like, change your wiring harness, your problem will go away, And and somebody's commenting here, your VVA actuator, your VVA what's it called? But your two sensors for your VVAs, they could be causing you problems as well. But I'm almost positive you have a derate going on for some reason.
Yeah. Would it something like something like you talking about a real computer hookup? Would it be able to catch that?
It should, yes. Here's the other thing: is that everything stock?
Everything is stock. When I bought the truck, he explained to me.
Is it even stock? Is the exhaust system original from the factory?
Yes. Everything is original from the factory.
Okay, so
but
the
guy that I bought.
The Acert, if you have the stock exhaust system on it, the Acert has a catalytic converter in the exhaust system. What kind of truck?
Peterbilt.
Okay, so the stacks on both sides have a catalytic converter, and if they've never ever been changed and or replaced or straight piped or whatever else, they'll cause the exact problem you're having. That's probably what's going on. I don't know why we didn't start there.
Okay. Probably need some better airflow.
Yep.
On the exhaust.
Yep.
Okay. I don't mind straight piping it.
That's
okay.
If they're original from the factory, that's the problem. Bet you $100. All right, brother.
Okay.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Good luck.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
So I got one more caller. I dropped him 3 times. and he keeps coming back and he keeps hanging on. So we're going to take him. Wants to ask about a MaxxForce. I don't even know why we would take our time, but Vincent, you're on the air. You made it, buddy. What can we do for you?
How you doing?
Good, man.
I have a Max.
You are a persistent. You're a persistent motherfucker. I'll give you that. But you made it. What can we do?
Yes. A year ago, I bought a rollback. It has a MaxxForce 10 in it.
Okay.
And when I got it, I drove it home. It seemed fine. I went to use it the following day. It was pushing coolant out of the reservoir bottle. Anyways.
This call will be recorded.
What the fuck? You there?
Yeah.
So anyways, I put a bulletproof EGR cooler on it, figuring that was the issue. Same thing. It didn't change nothing. I haven't had time to really do anything else with it. I kind of been using it as a site truck for the past year. What would you think could do that? Injector seats? Someone told me, or it's not a head gasket. It's not, losing coolant out of the exhaust. It's not mixing the oil with the coolant. None of those things.
You're having to add coolant?
Well, what's happening is it's acting as if the EGR cooler is bad or a bad head gasket. When you run the truck, like 1,500 RPMs, it'll push the coolant out of the reservoir bottle.
Yeah, you're
like almost as if the cooler's bad.
Well, it's most likely your head shot, and you probably had.
That's what I figured.
You had some kind. Not necessarily you, but there was probably some kind of event that happened to that thing where it lost a coolant line or something like that. Got excessively hot before this started.
It got hot on somebody. Probably the previous person that bought it before us probably got hot on them because we bought it like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Now it doesn't smoke a drop. It doesn't skip a beat.
Yeah. It probably just needs a cylinder head, man. And I do not have a clue where to point you to have that done.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But
I just figured you'd be the guy to ask.
Yeah, there's guys out there that will help you. I just don't know who they are.
Yeah, but so you're pretty confident it's a cylinder head.
Yep, and I wouldn't go into it trying to rebuild the whole thing. They're just not worth doing that too, you know. Yeah, but you could probably get a lot of life out of it after you put a head on it, you know. As much as everybody wants to make
it, only has. Yeah, it only has 200,000 on it. That's what I figured the head gasket got. I figured the head gasket somehow, but there's probably a crack in the head.
Yep.
So I was almost at one point thinking re-torque the head gasket and see if that helped. Because like I said, we're still using the truck.
No,
right? No. Just throw a head on it. Throw a head on it. Head gasket.
Yep.
Problem solved.
Yep.
All right. Hey, man, I didn't just. I appreciate it, and I'll definitely contact you guys.
All right, man. Have a good night and good luck.
You too, brother. Thank you.
Bye. Hopefully, when he said he's going to contact me, it's not to rebuild that fucking thing. Here's something to think about and remember. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time. I'm creeping up on 50. I like to think that I don't look it, but it's certainly not my first rabbit hunt by any stretch of the imagination. And here is a fact. Here is a fact that I want to share with everybody. I've said this before, but it can help people determine how problems happen and stuff like that. Just knowing this one fact. In all the years that I've been doing this and all the engines that we've done, I've never, ever one time in my life seen a head gasket fail for the head gasket's sake. Never seen it happen. It's either failed right away because there was an installation error of some kind, or there's a correlating event that took out that head gasket, either a horsepower issue, some kind of tuning issue, an overheat, a coolant loss, something of that nature. Your head gaskets don't fail independently of some external event going on. I've never seen it happen, ever. You know, and guys will call me and say, hey, I bought an aftermarket kit. Should I go get a OEM head gasket? Like, no. Why? I mean, head gaskets aren't failing on engines independently of other things. You don't take it up and change the head gasket. I've never changed the head gasket for the head gasket's sake ever in my life, ever. And maybe there's other mechanics that can say that they've had a different experience, but I'd have a hard time believing it because the head gaskets don't just fail of their own accord. I think that all the guys that sell the bill of goods that, oh, you know, we should have used an OEM gasket or whatever, is because there was an installation error going back together. I'm not immune to it. All right. We've had our own installation errors on head gaskets here. We've certainly more than one time, you know, but the head gaskets weren't failing for the sake of the head gasket because it wasn't good enough or whatever that may be. There was some kind of external event going on with that head gasket. So the first thing that you need to do if you're having pressure issues is forget about the head gasket. It's not the fucking problem. It may be the problem, but it's not why you're having the problem, right? There's some kind of correlating event that contributed to that. Anyway, that's my little rant on head gaskets. It always baffles me how many phone calls I have fielded over the last 15 years where people just want to ask me if they should go get an OEM head gasket with their aftermarket kit. The answer is unequivocally no. Why? They don't fail. They don't fail by themselves. Mechanics always say CAT gaskets are better than IPD, McBee, et cetera, et cetera. That is because those guys have fucked up head gaskets in the past and during installation, and they didn't want to have to pay for anything, so they blamed it on the head gasket. I guarantee it. I guarantee that's what's going on. I have fucked up my share of head gaskets and had to replace them for people out of my own pocket. It would be so much easier if I should have used an OEM gasket. It's just nonsense. So, and that's just my opinion. Actually, I take that back. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. I think 15 years later, last year, 250 engines. We're certainly on track to hit 300 this year. I'm almost positive we're on 100. What month are we in? We're at 180. My old lady said on our board we're at 186 right now. That's for this year, guys. 186. Come on. We might go over 300. We're probably going to go over 300. So we call it 500 in just 2 years. I think I can say it's more than just what I think when it comes to that. But anyway, there was all kinds of good questions, but now there doesn't seem to be any. It's usually a drop liner. Diesel B says, even dropped liners, unless you have an engine with a shit ton of miles on it. And I saw a guy on TikTok making a video and like, oh, heat, blah, blah, blah. These things don't cause drop liners. Well, drop liners don't drop by themselves either. There's something going on there as well. You either have, it's just like with ISXs, we see ISXs that don't get fucked with, not necessarily the newer X15s, but your older ISXs, they don't get fucked with, they don't get tuned, they don't get deleted and all that. It's not uncommon to see them go a million miles and not drop liners and have all these problems. So, with cats, it is almost a non-existent problem to open up a cat and correct it because the liner dropped. Now, that doesn't mean that when you open it up that you don't want to go in and reset the heights, but that being the cause of the reason you had to get it into the first place is very rare. Same thing with your Detroits. Same thing with your older Cummins, like your N14s and stuff. You're not going into those because you had a drop liner causing the problem, right? So, yeah, your head gasket can fail from a dropped liner, but usually there's a correlating event that goes along with that as well. And it's usually a horsepower issue, to be honest with you. So, yeah, and you know, if you overheat stuff really bad, lose a bunch of coolant, get that thing up 250 plus degrees, you know, you're gonna have all kinds of dumb shit happen to it. So, anyway. Anyway, I appreciate everybody for coming. It was a good time. I guess it's 9:40 already. I didn't even notice. I was having a good time. Not gonna lie, not all these shows have been a good time, but some of them I'm pretty tired and just want to go home. But I've enjoyed this one. You guys have all been great. Appreciate all that. Appreciate my TikTokers. Appreciate all of the participation. Gapless rings will fix everything. Oh, for sure, bro. No, but you know, the gapless rings, the idea behind that is obviously it's kind of like anything else. Yeah, you should see a little bit more performance. You know, will it even be noticeable? Probably not much. But there will be some performance. You'll see some better fuel mileage. Right now, your brand new engine, after it's done, is putting 1.5, 2, maybe even up to 3 CFM right into the crankcase. That's power. That's power. That's fuel. That's performance. That is everything that we're going to eliminate with a gapless ring. It's going to go where it's supposed to. It's going to be transferred as energy instead of going into your crankcase. And guys, you know, you have a brand new engine, put 10,000 miles on it. Your oil is black. Well, why is it black? It's black because a brand new engine has combustion gas going into the crankcase from day one. So, do I think that the gapless rings are going to make a difference? Fucking A. Fucking A, I do. I wouldn't have spent, well, I don't want to tell everyone how much I spent, but I just spent a lot of money. No one's ever made them for heavy-duty diesel engines before. It was a design concept from the beginning. You have all that upfront cost just in designing, producing, getting them to do it. I had to make a massive order. I had to get a huge quantity. I had to commit to several more purchases of those massive quantities just to get them to play ball with me. And in fact, when they called me today to give me an update on when I'm going to get them, part of what they wanted to talk to me about is when they can expect me to make in my second order of the orders that we have lined up. I'm like, well, Jesus, guys, give me some first, you know? So it was a huge investment on our part. But you know, they've been around a long time. It's nothing new. It's just new for these heavy duty, on off-road, on highway type application, so to speak. So, do I think they're going to be a miracle maker? No, nothing is, but I do think that they're going to dramatically improve your quality of oil, which is a big fucking deal. They're going to give you better performance, better fuel mileage, more horsepower. I mean, isn't that what we want out of every product in our big rigs? I mean, come on. That's literally what all these products are designed to do. Your ceramic coatings, your, you know, all of the little doodads and nicks and all of that. They're all geared towards those things that I just named. So approximately 200 builds. What's that comment? I don't get it. Anyway, I guess I don't have to get it, guys. If you were following along, make sure you watch. Keep your eyes on our TikTok. We have a pile of cool stuff coming out. We're coming out on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all that, of course. But we're going to be releasing a full feature film showing our product development. We had cameramen. I hired the guys that made storm chasers back in the day, flew them in here. They stayed with us for a couple of weeks as we ran around the country, meeting with all these product developers, giving them our specs and what we're looking for and coming together. And it's really cool. And so we have a whole feature presentation that we're going to share with everybody so y'all can see be a part of how all this came together. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've done some podcasts as well that we're releasing, kind of telling our story. Those are going to be coming out next week. All the next 2 weeks, next 2-3 weeks are just going to be all kinds of reveals and cool stuff coming out. And like I said, we're also invested in doing our own coatings here. Now that we've got to go around and, and all of our parts that are coming out are all getting coated, I got to be super intimate with all that. I learned so much about it, and I was able to transfer that knowledge and be we're going to start doing it here. So pretty cool. We're going to make it available for things that nobody's ever done before. You got DD15s, like Worldwide Diesel. I plan on reaching out to them, seeing if they want to start doing some stuff with us where we coat their DD15 stuff. Your all the stuff that nobody ever pays any attention to. You got a big cam 400 or something. Well, fuck it. Let's make it a performance big cam. Let's do it right. The biggest problem with your big cams is they melt to the ground. Well, let's make them melt to the ground proof, so it's really cool. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm glad you guys are all along for the ride. So love you long time. I'll catch you guys next week. I'll be here. Thanks for coming to the show. You guys make it everything it is. It would be a pretty lame ass show if I was here by myself. How do I get set up as a shop in your network? We have a website being launched shortly, Glenn, to answer your question. It's going to be through Highway and Heavy Parts. They're my partners on all this. They're the ones that invested. We had a lot of people knocking on our door. We had a lot of people we were talking to. But Highway and Heavy Parts, they just came in and they were who I wanted to partner with because they're visionaries, and they're not stuck on we didn't want to rebrand. We didn't want to take somebody's shit and rebrand it. So we were able to start from the bottom, develop our own stuff with huge backing, and they invested literally millions of dollars into us, and they've been the greatest partner ever. They're building the website, so it's all going to be integrated. But to become a dealer, our parts are accessible to everyone, but there is a dealer program. Obviously, there's a minimum, but you don't have to pay for it up front. It's not like with PDI or something like that where you had to make this a buy-in. You can instead purchase. So let's say you're a smaller shop and you just make some purchases. Once you reach like $40,000 or $50,000, which doesn't take very long at all, do 2 or 3 trucks, we'll make you a dealer, and you get dealer pricing and all that. So and we were going to do the no questions asked warranty only for dealers. We've changed that. It's going to be for anybody that buys it. So there's that. That's cool too. So, that was the last meeting we had. There was a lot of talk about the warranty because basically nobody's ever done it like that before. And we all agreed at the end, we're going to stick to what we said in the beginning. So that's what we're going to have. We're going to have a no questions asked warranty. We're going to just stand behind everything, and it's going to be cool. Truckworks of Ohio. He's on TikTok there. We're looking forward to what he's got going on. I sent 2 people in the United States a set of rings. I had them pre-made. Truckworks of Ohio has a set. We're very excited. He's building a 6NZ. You guys find him on TikTok. I think he's on Facebook as well. Maybe even on Instagram. I'm not sure, but definitely check out Truckworks of Ohio. Keep an eye on him. He has rings of ours. He built the 6NZ with him. He also built side by side with another 6NZ. He didn't use the rings in, so he's going to be able to do a side by side comparison on those. So keep an eye on him. Matt over at Coonley Brothers, he also has a set of our rings that they're putting in one of their builds that they're going to be able to dyno. So we have sets of rings at Ohio Truckworks. Again, he's a cool guy. Find him on TikTok, Facebook, whatever else. And then Matt at Coonley Brothers also has a set. So we're going to be able to test those rings. They're still 6 weeks before they come out. So they're going to get some real-time testing, real world application with dynos in 2 different applications before they ever end up in anybody's hands. So that's really cool. Appreciate them for that. We're probably going to fly up where the truck works is and film that ourselves. Hopefully we can pull that off. I'd like to meet him anyway, and we may even go and hang out with Matt at Coonley Brothers. We're in talks with them about that as well. Should be a lot of fun. So stay tuned. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up, guys. Love you long time, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming. You guys all have a good night.